in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. You come in. Make yourself comfortable because I'm going to tell you a nice, quiet little ghost story. Nothing to frighten you. Not badly, at any rate. Nothing to make you run screaming into the street. No, the most this ghost story can do is make you snuggle down deeper under the covers and reach out for a hand to hold. A hand I trust that is firm and warm, not clammy and cold. Our mystery drama, The Phantom Lullaby, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Rosemary Murphy and Arnold Moss. I myself have never met a ghost. I don't know why. Perhaps something in my personality puts them off. But if ever I should, I hope he'll do something more than moan and sigh and clank chains. What I should really enjoy would be a nice, chatty ghost who'd sit down and talk things over. Things like whether the life after death is really pleasanter than the one before. And if it is, why is it? Things like that. Things that only a ghost would know. Ah, well, perhaps one fine day or some dark night, if I hold myself in readiness, my ghost will visit me. Meantime, relax, won't you? And listen.
Hello? Intercoastal Airlines? Well, can you tell me if Flight 509 from New York is on time? Yeah, I'll hold on.
Ellen's room is finished.
Good.
I've ordered new curtains. Oh, I hope she likes her room.
Oh, I'm sure she will. I'm sure she... yes? Oh, it is? Well, good. Thank you very much. The plane's on time.
Well, you better get started then.
Yeah.
Don't be nervous.
I'm not nervous.
It'll only make her nervous if you're nervous. What are you looking in the closet for?
My overcoat.
It's on the chair.
Oh.
She's only been away 4 days.
It's not a question of how long she's been away. It's what she went away for.
I know that.
Well, then why say a foolish thing like only 4 days?
Please. I'm nervous, too.
Well, what do you think you're doing now?
This couch shouldn't be here. It should be over there.
That's an 8-foot couch. Don't try to move it by yourself.
I can do it.
Let me have the superintendent, please. Emily, will you stop that? I'd help you, but I have to get going. I don't want Ellen standing around the airport. Hello? This is Mr. Keene, Penthouse B. Yeah, we just moved in. We're not quite settled in yet, and I have to go to the airport to pick up my daughter. Could you possibly help my wife move a few pieces of furniture? No, we want the place to look extra nice. Our daughter's never seen it, and... Oh, that's great. That's just great. Thank you very much. He'll be up in a couple of minutes.
Howard, do you think Ellen will like this apartment?
Well, I certainly hope so. It's costing an arm and a leg.
What with the terrace and everything? Her own bathroom, a real dining room?
Well, the idea is to give her a change. New surroundings, blot out everything that happened.
As if a terrace and her own bathroom could take her mind off that terrible man.
Well, they'll help. I'm not saying completely, but they'll help. Give us something to think about besides John Draper and the rest of it.
Seems strange we never even met him.
I hope I never do meet him. Well, honey, I got to get going.
Don't tell Ellen about this place. Let it be a surprise. And, Howard, be very, gentle with her. Let her know we love her.
Yeah, I'll let her know. Well, I'm off. Oh. You're the superintendent.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you knock.
I was just getting ready to.
Well, come in. This is my wife. She'll show you what she wants done. Oh, and here's something for your trouble.
Oh, okay.
Honey, I'll be back in an hour.
Good luck.
Take care.
Well, now,
You like this place?
I'm sure we will like it. We just moved in.
I know. It's a nice-looking apartment with a terrace and all.
First thing I want to do is move the couch over there to the long wall.
Everybody likes this place when they first move in.
If you take one end and I take the other.
1, 2, 3 months, then they start getting jumpy.
Jumpy?
They pay up what they owe on the lease and they move out.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, it happens every time. Well, let's move this thing if we're going to...
Let me move the coffee table first.
No, I'll do it. Yeah. How'd you happen to hear it was vacant?
Well, actually, friends of ours called us. They'd met some people at a party who said they were giving up this beautiful apartment, and we thought...
That would be the Winthrops. Yeah, they lasted 6 months. Where you want this table?
Right where you're standing.
Okay. And before them was the Katzes, and before them the Millbrooks, and before them the Kramers, and before them...
Why did they all move out? What's wrong with the place?
Search me. They would never say, any of them. Just paid up and moved out. You know what I think?
What?
I think the joint's haunted. Now, where does the couch go?
Enter, young lady.
Ellen. Darling, it's so good to have you back.
I'll put the suitcase in the bedroom.
When you see your bedroom, darling, make allowances for the curtains. I had to put up your old ones, and they're too short, but I'm expecting new ones, maybe today. But I got you a new bed. Oh, heavens, the fuss they made about delivering it. So, what do you think? Do you like the apartment?
It's very nice.
Come, look at the view from the terrace. Come on. You can see for miles. Isn't that spectacular?
Spectacular.
Well, you can take a good look at it later. What would you like to do now?
I don't know.
Take a hot bath? You have your own bathroom now.
Really? Do I?
Or would you like to just sit and talk?
All right. If you want to.
Ellen, was the operation very bad?
You mean the abortion? No. It wasn't bad at all.
I'm glad of that.
I opened your suitcase, let a little air in, huh? I didn't unpack anything, though.
I'll do it.
You want to do that now, dear? Maybe take that hot bath, and I'll start lunch, and then when it's ready, I'll call you.
All right.
It's the door on the right. Oh, here, I'll show you.
I'll find it.
And the bathroom opens right off of it. Howard, what's wrong with her?
I don't know. She was like that all the way in from the airport.
Like a sleepwalker.
Like a zombie.
Howard?
I'm making us a drink.
We need it.
How is she?
I guess she's all right.
Here's your drink.
She's lying on the bed just staring at the ceiling. I spoke to her, but she didn't answer me. So I didn't bother her.
That horrible man, he did this to her.
I wish she'd talked to me about him. But she never did say much, except that she was seeing him a lot. And then when she told me she was pregnant, she said he didn't want to marry her, so she guessed she'd have an abortion.
Just like that.
Things have changed, so. The young people nowadays.
And the parents nowadays.
I guess so.
I should have insisted. I should have put my foot down, absolutely insisted.
Insisted on what?
Well, at least on meeting the guy, at least that.
That's not the way things are done these days.
Well, they should be. Look, do you think I ought to get in touch with him now?
Now? It's too late
Well, we
now.
can't just leave her the way she is, walking around like an automaton. Maybe he could... Oh, I don't know. Maybe he could snap her out of it or something.
Maybe she'll snap out of it by herself.
If she was really in love with him...
She said she wasn't.
Well, maybe she was. Maybe she was and didn't know it. Anyway, I think he ought to see what he's done.
What good would that do?
I don't know. I don't know. Why don't you go and see if she's all right?
I don't like to disturb her.
Well, just knock on the door and see if she answers.
All right.
Well, the state she's in...
Ellen?
Oui, Maman.
I don't want to disturb you, dear, but I just want to make sure everything's all right.
Tout va bien.
I guess she's all right. Anyway, she answered me.
But what did she say?
I couldn't make it out, but she sounded fine.
Well, that's good. Maybe it was just shock or something before.
Probably that was it.
Emily, if you get to talking to her, if she'll talk to you...
Oh, she will.
Ask her about this man. Hmm? What's his name again?
John Draper?
Yeah, ask her how she feels about him. You know, if she thinks about him, wants to call him up or anything, you tell her that it's all right with us.
Howard, she doesn't care if it's all right with us. Young people don't these days. They just go ahead and do what they want to do.
Well, do you realize we don't know anything about this man? What does he do for a living, if anything?
He plays the piano. I think he gives lessons.
Where does he live?
Over on Market Street, I think.
Yeah, that figures. Has he got a phone?
I imagine so. I don't know.
Well, if he gives lessons, he's got to have a phone. It's got to be in the book. I think so. Anyway, here he is. Look. John Draper, 121 Market.
You're not going to call him.
No, I'm not going to call him. I just want to know that he's alive and breathing somewhere in this town. If Ellen isn't better by tomorrow or the next day...
Howard, she will be.
Go knock on the door again, will you?
What'll I say?
Say anything. Say we're having a drink out here. Why doesn't she join us?
All right, if you say so.
But keep it light and, you know, cheerful.
Ellen, dear, your father and I are having a drink. Don't you want to join us?
Pas maintenant.
How's that, dear?
Je suis occupée.
Well, whenever you're ready, we'd love to have you. I think a drink would do you good. Whenever you're ready. I guess she's all right.
But did she say she was all right?
I don't know what she said.
What do you mean you don't know what she said?
Ellen!
Are you all right, baby?
Je regrette, mais je ne peux pas vous joindre pour le moment. Je dois m'occuper du petit garçon. Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît.
Howard.
Why, I didn't know she could speak French.
She can't.
Well, she just did. I understand enough French to know that.
What did she say? Could you tell?
Well, she said she couldn't join us just now because she had to take care of the little boy.
Do you agree with Anthony Trollope that the chief duty a parent owes a child is to make the child happy? I think I do. And I think in their more beneficent moods, most people do. Why, then, are there so many bitterly unhappy children? Ellen Keene, only daughter of Howard and Emily Keene, came home a little while ago after the removal of an incipient life from her body. In the new penthouse apartment her parents have rented in an anxious effort to lift her spirits, she has just now delivered her longest utterance since she arrived.
Je regrette, mais je ne peux pas vous joindre pour le moment. Je dois m'occuper du petit garçon. Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît.
Howard?
Why, I didn't know she could speak French.
She can't.
Well, she just did. I understand enough French to know that.
What did she say? Could you tell?
Well, she said she couldn't join us just now because she had to take care of the little boy.
What little boy?
Well, how should I know what little boy?
Howard, the operations affected her mind.
No, don't say that. That's not true.
Must have meant more to her than we knew.
How could we know she acted as though it was nothing?
That's how young people are these days.
I'm going to call that man.
John Draper? What good would that do?
He ought to know what he's done.
Howard, it isn't right to blame it all on him.
I don't care. There, here. Here's his number.
I I don't see why you think he can help.
Well, maybe she still loves him. Maybe he can get through to her. Maybe.
Hello?
Mr. Draper? John Draper?
Yes?
I'm Howard Keene, Ellen Keene's father.
Yes?
Ellen came home a little while ago. I thought you might like to know.
How is she? Is she all right?
No, she's not all right.
What's the trouble? They didn't hurt her, did they?
Physically, she seems to be all right, but other ways, she's not.
I'm glad you called me. What can I do?
My wife and I thought it might help if you came to see her,
Why, of course, right now.
if you can.
I'll have to cancel some lessons, but I'll be there as soon as I can.
Oh, hold on just a minute. We've moved to a new place.
Oh? You've moved?
Yes, we took a penthouse on the spur of the moment, just moved in this morning. It's at 42 Cedar Terrace. Do you know where that is?
42 Cedar Terrace?
Yes, penthouse B. Have you got that? Hello? Mr. Draper, are you there? Hello?
I'm sorry, Mr. Keene, but I'm afraid I won't be able to get there after all. Give Ellen my love.
Hello? Mr. Draper? Hello?
Howard?
I don't get it. He was very nice, very concerned about Ellen. He wanted to help. He wanted to come to see her right away, and then all of a sudden, when I gave him the address, he made a sudden switch, and he said he was sorry. He couldn't.
Why would he do that?
Thought it over, I guess, decided he wanted no part of it.
But you said he sounded nice at first.
He's not going to get away with it.
Howard, what are you going to do?
What was his address again? It's right there in the phone book. I'm going to get him to see Ellen if I have to drag him here. What's the address?
121 Market Street. Howard, I wish you wouldn't go.
I'll be back in half an hour. You stay right here.
You think I should call Dr. Stone?
No, not yet. Well, what could we say to him? That our daughter talks to us in French when she doesn't know any French? That she says she has to take care of a little boy when there isn't any little boy? No, you just stay here with her, and I don't think she'll get violent or anything like that, and I'll be back in half an hour with Mr. John Draper.
Oh, dear. Ellen? Ellen, honey? Ellen, don't you want to come out now and have some lunch? I could fix us both a sandwich and some soup.
Je suis occupée.
We haven't had a chance to talk.
Va-t'en, maman.
You're sure you're all right?
Tout va bien, maman.
That's the phone buzzer from downstairs, dear. I have to answer it. Yes?
This is Super, Mrs. Keene. I got a big package down here for you.
Package? What kind of package?
It's big. It's from, Standish Decorators.
Oh, it must be the curtains for my daughter's room.
You want me to bring it up?
Yes. Would you please?
Yeah, I'll be right up.
Thank you. Ellen, darling? Ellen, the curtains for your room have come. You remember I told you I ordered new ones? What do you think? Shall we take down the old ones and put up the new ones? I'm dying to see how they look. Ellen, dear? Ellen?
Voilà, mon petit. Ne pleure pas, mon petit.
Ellen? Ellen, answer me.
Va-t'en, maman. Je suis occupée.
Dear God. I don't know what to do. Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming. Just a minute.
Your package, Mrs. Keene.
Thank you. Thank you.
You, okay, Mrs. Keene?
What?
Well, you look kind of peculiar.
I do?
What's the matter? Ghosts been bothering you?
Ghosts?
I told you the place was haunted.
Yes, you did, didn't you?
Didn't think they'd be getting to you so soon, though.
Look, come in for a minute, will you? Do you mind? I'd like to talk to you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Tell me, why you say this apartment is haunted.
It was just a guess.
You don't really know, do you?
No, I don't really know about this apartment, no, but I know quite a lot about ghosts from personal experience.
Tell me what you know.
Well, I guess everybody knows that ghosts are no more and no less than the spirits of the who won't leave the earth, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious, wouldn't you say?
I wouldn't know anything about it.
Oh, well, I thought everybody knew that. Well, that's what they are. The only difference between one ghost and another being why they won't leave the earth. Why they keep coming back to haunt. And there's various reasons why.
Like what?
Well, they could be they're in love with some live person who returns that love even after death. That's one reason.
What other reasons are there?
Well, there's a ghost that won't admit to death, a ghost who resents the people who've gone on living. Now, this, generally speaking, is the ghost of some person who is used to lording it over everybody in life and comes back to try to lord it over them some more. That's another reason for ghosts.
What other reasons?
Then there's the kind that just can't understand how it happened.
What happened?
Death. Their own death. That's the kind of ghost I understand very well. My sister's one of those.
You mean your sister doesn't understand how she happened to die? Is that what you mean?
She was 12 years old. She was on her way to school. And a car came along with a drunken driver behind the wheel, and the car swerved up on the sidewalk and killed her. She never knew what happened. Before she knew anything, she was...
And her ghost comes back?
Every night. Every night I wake up and hear crying.
What do you do?
I try to explain it to her, but what can I say? It doesn't make any sense. Drunk in a car and her on her way to school.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes more sense to kill yourself, don't you think? That way you got something to say about how you go and when. Not just leave it up to some drunk in a car. Well, that's my opinion anyway. All right, I better be getting back downstairs.
Couldn't you just stay for a little while? I don't feel like being alone right now. My husband will be home in about half an hour. He went to see somebody over on Market Street.
No, I can stay a little while if you like me to.
I'd appreciate it.
We'll talk about ghosts, huh? That's my favorite topic. Ghosts.
I'm looking for Mr. Draper.
I'm Mr. Draper.
I guess it's your son I'm looking for.
I don't have a son.
Oh, well, I expected... Well, I didn't know I'm Howard Keene, Ellen's father. I'd like to come in and talk to you.
Mr. Keene...
Please, it's very important, or I wouldn't ask.
Come in.
Thank you very much.
Sit down if you want.
Excuse my staring at you. I expected a much younger man.
I'm 51.
It's just my age.
You said on the phone Ellen is all right.
No, I said that physically Ellen's all right. Why didn't you want to marry Ellen when you found out that she was pregnant?
I couldn't.
Why, you've got a wife?
I had a wife.
You're divorced.
Something I never talk about, Mr. Keene.
You never talked about it to Ellen?
I never talked about it to anybody. And I don't intend to.
Maybe you should.
I can't. Tell me about Ellen.
Well, she came home a little while ago. She was changed. She talked in monosyllables, short sentences at the most. And we thought after what she's been through, maybe that's only natural. So my wife told her to have a bath, take a nap, and we'd have a drink, lunch. Well, my wife and I were talking, Ellen came out of a room and spoke to us, quite a long speech, and every word of it in French.
In French?
Now, Ellen doesn't know any French. You never spoke to her in French, did you?
Never.
Well,
Never.
I just wonder.
What did she say in French?
Well, she said she was sorry she couldn't join us for a drink, but she had to take care of a little boy.
What little boy?
I have no idea.
Mr. Keene, after an operation like the one Ellen had, don't you think it's possible that it's bound to have an effect on a woman, on her emotions, for a while anyway?
I don't want it to go on for too long, and that's why I called you.
You thought I could help?
I hoped you could. Get your coat. I've got a cab waiting outside.
Now I've told you everything I know about ghosts, Mrs. Keene. Have you seen the one that's haunting this place?
No. I'm not even sure there is one.
Well, I'll be getting on downstairs if you don't need me for anything.
Oh, well, if you could, I'd really appreciate your helping me put these curtains up. If you have the time.
Oh, yeah, I got a few minutes.
They're for my daughter's room. I'm not sure we should go in there. She's been resting. I'll tell you what, I'll knock on her door. If she's up, I know she'd love to see the curtains. Ellen, dear, it's Mother. The superintendent is here, and if it's all right with you, we'd like to put up the new curtains. You know, I told you before they just came from the shop. Ellen, dear, I'm going to open the door and come in because I think you've been by yourself long enough. I really do. Ellen? Oh!
What's the matter?
Oh!
Mrs. Keene, what? Good Lord.
She's not moving.
She's not breathing.
Her eyes are wide open.
She's
not... Don't say such a thing. Don't you dare say such a thing.
Mrs. Keene, what are you doing?
Calling the doctor, you fool.
Doctor won't do any good.
Man is the only animal who knows that he will die. So said the great Voltaire. The knowledge that he will one day cease to live permeates man's days and poisons them a little. I think that if ever I am given another life, I should like to live it as a bird or a monkey or a chipmunk or a beetle. It doesn't add much to the enjoyment of life to know that it won't last long. You'll remember I promised you a quiet little ghost story? I think I've kept my promise so far. Though, of course, in any story, there must be an explosion or two. At this moment, Mr. Keene, Ellen's father, is preparing to enter a taxicab with Mr. Draper, Ellen's one-time lover.
You say you're married?
Yes.
But you weren't divorced?
No.
Your wife died?
Yes.
I see. How long ago was that?
What?
How long ago did your wife die?
25 years ago.
Did you and your wife have any children?
Yes. One.
Where is the child? At birth?
No.
I feel a little bit like a heel asking you all these questions, but I'm concerned about my daughter.
I'm concerned, too, or I wouldn't have come with you.
I understand. I think I understand. You've never wanted to get married again, is that it?
Never.
Even after all these years?
I met my wife in Europe towards the end of the war. The big war. I'd been doing very well in business. I was on my way to making it big when I got drafted. I didn't like being drafted, but I went anyway, and she was the one bright spot in an otherwise drab and miserable Army career. I brought her back here. She had a child, and they both died. I stopped making money. I started playing the piano, and I have been at it ever since then.
But you were in love with Ellen. I hope you don't mind my asking.
I don't know what that means, to be in love. I'm not saying there's no such thing, but if there is, I've forgotten, or I never knew what it's like.
I'm very sorry for you.
It's very kind of you, but don't bother.
Cedar Terrace is the next right turn, driver.
Are we nearly there?
Next right, about half a mile. My wife and I just moved in. We wanted to do something for Ellen. We heard through friends about this marvelous apartment that was suddenly available, a penthouse of all things.
Penthouse B, you said?
Yeah, we took it on an impulse, thinking it'd be something for Ellen to come home to take her mind off everything. You know, what she'd been through.
And did it?
Well, no. No, she's hardly said a word about the place since I brought her home from the airport. She's hardly said anything about anything. Just a few words of French and that one thing about not being able to have a drink with us before lunch because she had to look after a little boy.
How could she speak French when she doesn't know any French? And what little boy did she have to look after? I don't understand any of it. Not any of it.
Hold on. We're almost there. Maybe Ellen will be all right, more of herself anyway, and then you can ask her. You just hang in there for a couple of minutes more.
Dr. Stone, what's wrong with Ellen?
Well, Mrs. Keene, I can't detect any vital signs at all. I hesitate to pronounce her, but what can I say? I can find no pulse, no heartbeat, no reflexes. I've done everything I can think of. Injection, massage.
She's not there. Tell me she's not.
Like you, I refuse to conclude that at the moment. But if your daughter is alive, Mrs. Keene, she is in the deepest coma I've ever encountered. It's as though she were not in or out of this world at all.
It's that tall building on the corner, driver, number 42.
A very tall building.
How's that?
I said it's a tall building.
Well, compared to the way they build them nowadays, it's not so tall, but I guess when they put it up, it was considered pretty daring. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
I can't. I just can't.
You get back in there. Driver, stop the cab. Hey, stop.
I can't go up there. I can't.
I don't care if you can or can't. You're going to. Now, march. Don't you try anything now. I got hold of you.
I can't do it.
You let me pay the cab. Here you are, driver. Now you get going.
Mr. Keene, I know you think this is very strange.
You bet I think it's very strange.
I can explain.
After you've seen my daughter, you can explain. Now, you get in the elevator there. Right now, Ellen's the only one I'm interested in. Push that button that says penthouse.
Penthouse B.
That's right.
Mrs. Keene, if Ellen isn't, and I'm still not convinced, then she's either in a very, very deep coma or... here I'm getting into territory that I don't understand at all. She's in a trance.
A trance?
We hear of these things, people who can control their body functions. I was told of a man who could make one half of his arm stone cold and the other half blood warm. He could do it at will, or so I was told.
I can't believe it. Do you believe it?
Mrs. Keene, there isn't a doctor alive today who would deny the power the human mind has over the human body.
But... oh, that must be my husband.
Well, I want to talk to him.
I'll only be a second. Yes, I'm coming. Howard. Mr. Draper?
That's him.
I'm Ellen's mother. Howard, I called Dr. Stone. He's with Ellen now. He wants to talk to you.
I'm in here, Mrs. Keene.
Dr. Stone, how is she?
She shows no vital signs of life at all.
You don't mean that she's... oh, no, she can't be. Emily, what happened?
Mr. Keene, we don't know precisely what happened, and I don't... well, for some reason I can't really explain. I don't think she's dead. Either she's in a deep coma or she's in a trance state.
Well, what's that, a trance state?
It's something medical men know very little about. So, I want your permission to take her to the hospital and have her examined by another doctor there. And if he gives us no convincing diagnosis, we'll call in a psychic healer.
You have our permission to do anything you have to.
Of course.
All right, I'll call an ambulance.
Mr. Draper, I've been very rude. We've paid no attention to you at all. Thank you so much for coming.
It's quite all right.
You can see we're beside ourselves with worry.
Yes, I can see that.
There's an ambulance service. There's Dr. Stone.
Mrs. Keene, do you suppose that I could see Ellen?
Oh, I don't think so. Not now.
Why didn't somebody wake me up?
Ellen.
Thank you.
Darling.
Is it time for lunch?
Ellen, how do you feel?
Dr. Stone. What are you doing here? And John, you know, it's funny. I thought I heard your voice, but then I decided I must have imagined it.
Yeah, but how do you feel, Ellen?
Well, I feel perfectly fine. I had a wonderful sleep.
You're sure you feel all right?
Well, I just told you I feel fine. I was tired when Daddy brought me home from the airport, but I had a lovely nap, and now I'm fine. But what are you doing here? And John, how did you get here? How did you know where to come?
Your father, he told me.
Oh, really? Oh, that was nice. Then you've met.
Yes, we've met.
You'll stay for lunch, won't you, John?
Mother, is that all right? Is there enough for John, too?
Yes, dear, there's enough. But first, don't you think you ought to bathe and change your clothes?
I guess I should. I was going to do that before, wasn't I? When I first got here. But then I got busy with something or other, and I forgot all about it.
Want me to come with you, dear?
It would be nice. We haven't had a chance to talk, have we?
No, but we will.
See you off for lunch.
Yes, Ellen.
You'll stay, Mr. Draper?
I'm not sure that I can.
Please do. Ellen seems to want you to.
Mr. Keene, I don't know any of the whys or wherefores, but your daughter seems to be all right.
Yes, she seems to be.
All right. I'm going back to my office. I'll be there all afternoon. If anything happens to alarm you, please call me. I can be here in 5 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Stone.
No, don't bother to come to the door. I'll let myself out.
I'm glad she's all right.
I suppose you don't believe there was ever anything wrong.
I don't know.
After all, you didn't see her when she was, well, the way she was.
I know your daughter very well, Mr. Keene. I know what a sensitive girl she is. I told you in the taxi that I didn't believe I knew the meaning of being in love. Now I'm not so sure. I think I was, in my own neurotic way, in love with Ellen. We were very close.
Well, why did you make such a fuss about coming here? Why did you try to jump out of the camp? What was that all about?
I had been here before.
When? When were you ever here?
I used to live here.
In this apartment?
Penthouse B, yes.
But when was this?
25 years ago.
You lived here with your wife?
Huh?
And your child?
Yes.
And your child was a little boy?
Yes.
How old was the child when he died?
2 years old.
And your wife, how old was she?
21.
They both died while you were living here. I can see why you wouldn't want to come with me.
It's not just that they died.
Well, what was it?
It was the way they died.
Tell me about it.
When I came back from Europe, I started up in business again. The business which the war had so rudely interrupted. I was determined to work my way up the ladder again, and I threw myself into my work. I think my wife felt neglected. Truth is, I did neglect her. But it wasn't just my neglect. She was a foreigner. Even after 3 years, she hadn't learned to speak English. She was shy. She didn't make friends. She was alone a great deal, except for the child. And one night, I was at my desk working over some papers when she came into the room with a child in her arms. She spoke to me. I don't remember what she said, but I remember that she spoke to me. I had every intention of answering her. But I didn't want to be bothered at that precise moment. Half a minute later, I turned around and she wasn't there. She had jumped from the terrace. She had jumped from the terrace with the child in her arms.
Good Lord. Do you think it's possible... I know how far-fetched it sounds, but is it possible that the little boy Ellen told us she had to look after was the ghost of your son?
I don't know what else to think. Do you?
Tell me something. What nationality was your wife?
My wife is French. It all begins to fit together, doesn't it? When you stop and think about it.
When you stop and think about it. You don't want to stop and think about it? That such things don't bear thinking about? All right. Don't stop. Go right on doing the things you've always done. Waking in the morning, putting in the hours until it's time to go to sleep again. Don't, for an instant of your busy day, think about such things. But that won't make the things go away. Now, will it? That was a quiet little ghost story, wasn't it? Just as I said it would be. Personally, I prefer ghost stories to be quiet. For ghosts, generally speaking, having no physical equipment, tend to be quiet. But like so many living people who are quiet, ghosts are also tenacious and persistent. And they are everywhere. Our cast included Rosemary Murphy, Arnold Moss, Mason Adams, Corinne Orr, and Robert Dryden. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The preceding Mystery Theater program was furnished by the CBS Radio Network. Listen now to this scene from tomorrow night's offering on the WOR Mystery Theater.
I'm going to kill myself.
Well, that's one way to... You're what?
I'm going to kill myself, but it won't be suicide.
You're going to kill yourself, but it won't be suicide.
That's right, Murray. And my wife will receive $50,000 in insurance money.
Now I know you're crazy.
I'm serious, Murray.
Well, you can go ahead and kill yourself, but your wife isn't going to get any $50,000. You're not even married.
That's right, Murray. Don't you see now why it's so perfect?
Dressed to Kill stars Robert Morse and will be heard tomorrow night on the WOR Mystery Theater, following Fulton Lewis at 7 o'clock. Your dial is set for 15 minutes of late news with John Scott reporting at 8 o'clock.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. You're just in time to join me for an adventure in suspense and terror. The most heart-stopping terror of all. Not the terror of the eccentric, the grotesque, or bizarre, but the chilling terror that slowly emerges when one discovers that all the standards, the laws, the customs that have so naturally governed our existence have suddenly been revoked or repealed and no longer apply. Gone are the familiar, the everyday usages which regulated life in a comfortable, predictable flow. And you are suddenly confronted with a living nightmare of chaos and anarchy. Our mystery drama, To Kill with Confidence, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Marion Seldes. It is sponsored in part by Sign-Off, the sinus medicines, and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
I want that sinus medicine.
Headache tablets?
No, sinus medicine. Sinus tablets. Helps the headache and the pressure.
Oh, you mean sign-off.
Exactly.
Headache pain is one thing. A sinus headache is something else. Sometimes your whole face can seem to throb with pain. You want relief. Take Sign-Off tablets. Sineoff. The sinus medicine that gives you a full dose of pure aspirin plus a sinus drainer. Sign-Off. The sinus medicine that helps relieve sinus pain while you drain. And Sign-Off doesn't stop there. Have you tried Sign-Off Sinus Spray, the fastest known form of sinus congestion relief? It works in seconds. That's Sign-Off Sinus Spray. When sinus flares up, use Sign-Off tablets and spray, only as directed.
Sineoff.
Sign-Off.
Exactly.
Sign-Off, the sinus medicines in the bright red box.
There are men who give more solid thought to the choosing of a car than to the selection of a wife. There are girls who will take more time and care in deciding on a fall outfit than in picking a husband. Who is to blame? A good deal of it can be placed on the shoulders of society, which somehow tries to imply that marriages are made in heaven. This being the case, why bother being too careful down here below? At any rate, let us consider this extremely attractive, newly married young couple driving along a superhighway near a Midwestern city.
Why don't we get off the turnpike, darling?
Is anything wrong?
No, I just thought I'd like a change of scene.
Okay, next exit.
You're an angel.
Well, it's getting on toward lunchtime, and I think this is a town where they have a place that serves the most fantastic sauerbraten.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A landmark. You know, one of those terribly authentic restaurants. Ruth, dear, you are in for a treat.
Except for one thing.
What's that?
I happen to despise sauerbraten.
Uh-oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry, dearest. You and I, well, we'll never have days like this again.
Days like what?
Well, let's call them days of discovery. Days of getting to know each other. Days of finding out about each other.
Such as, you don't like sauerbraten.
What don't you like?
Oh, I like everything.
Even artichokes?
Especially artichokes. You'll have absolutely no trouble feeding us.
I think that's why I fell in love with you. You're so even-tempered.
Oh, no, you don't know that for a fact. I may have been on my best behavior all this time.
Well, I just can't picture you as anything but... Well,
but what?
Sweet. Calm. Nice.
Well, I tried to keep my temper. I learned what it can mean to lose it.
Oh, what happened?
Now, that was a long time ago, darling. I found out what it can mean to lose your sense of balance and values, and, well, I plan to make amends for all that.
Do you want to talk about it?
No. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, no, you don't have to explain.
Now, what I'll have to do is explain why I won't explain. Can you follow that?
Sure.
I have to put it all completely out of my mind. I have to go so far as to convince myself that it never even happened.
I understand. And I may have one or two deep, dark secrets of my own.
Well, keep them. That's what I dreamed about, to start a fresh, brand new, clean slate. Agreed?
Agreed. Now, I tell you what let's do. Let's have sauerbraten anyhow.
Oh, no.
Well, you have it. I'll order something simple like hamburger.
Oh, no, not in this place.
Why?
Well, you won't enjoy lunch. The waiters are such frightful snobs if they sense you're not there for the specialty.
Oh, it's that kind of a place.
We don't have to have lunch there. We can stay on the turnpike.
No. Look, here's the exit. Let's turn off.
Well,
you did have your heart set on...
Uh-oh.
What is it? Is something wrong?
Well, the car. I think it's that mysterious vibration. Do you hear it?
I don't know.
Well, that funny noise.
Oh, Leo, darling, to me these things sound funny all the time. Is it something serious?
I hope not.
Well, look, we have 1,000 miles still to go. We'd better have it checked.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, but in case it is serious, do we have enough cash?
Well, that's no problem, darling. We'll stop off at the first station that honors a transnational credit card.
But I thought the card's only good for gasoline.
No, all repairs do. Oh, look, just up ahead, there's a big blue transnational sign. It says Frank's Quality Service. Let's pull in and have the motor checked.
Well, are we in for some major surgery?
It's a rocker arm.
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, it means more labor than anything else, and he's short-handed.
In other words?
In other words, it'll take some time, darling.
Well, does that fit in with our plans? We did intend to have some lunch.
We could do that, darling, except,
What is it?
Well, you remember I told you what happened to me last time I needed emergency repairs? Well, that decided me. When you're having work done in a strange town, a place you don't know, you really should stick around, keep an eye on it.
That's right, of course.
Well, I know it'll be a bore for you.
Well, I could shop.
Could you?
Your birthday's the day after tomorrow. I'd love an hour or so. I'll look for something and I'll be able to surprise you.
Well, that's a great idea. Now, what's this fellow's name? Oh, yeah, Frank.
Say, Frank.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, Mr. Renard.
Yeah, what can I do for you?
You've got about an hour on my car?
Oh, say an hour and a half and be safe.
Well, my wife would like to do a little shopping.
Well, and you're in luck. We got us a shopping center just 3 blocks from here. It's called the Golden Mall.
The Golden Mall?
Yeah. They got the top stores there. All the big ones from New York, Chicago.
How do I get there?
Oh, it's just 3 blocks up. See that traffic light?
Yeah.
You turn left, go 1 block. There it is. The Golden Mall.
Well, thank you.
She'll come back loaded with packages. You won't thank me.
Darling, make sure you remember the name of this place. Huh?
Yeah. It's Frank's 24-hour quality service. Open 24 hours a day. Everybody in town knows me.
Well, let's see. It's exactly 12 noon. Darling, I'll see you at 1:30.
Make sure you remember the address, ma'am. It's 1776 Jefferson. I mean, how can you forget that one, huh?
Oh, is Mr. Renard there? He should be having his car fixed.
Mr. Renard? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure thing. Hold on, huh? Mr. Renard! Hello?
Leo, darling.
Oh, for a moment,
What is it, darling?
Nothing, dear. Nothing at all.
Must have been something.
Well, yes. I just couldn't imagine who'd be calling me here. Is everything okay?
No.
Well, darling, what's wrong?
I miss you, that's all. You realize we've been separated for almost 45 minutes?
Oh.
You miss me?
Terribly.
All right. I just called you up to keep the record clear. Will he be finished on schedule?
Mm-hmm. Looks that way. About another half to 3/4 of an hour.
All right, I'll be there 1:30 on the dot. I don't like these long separations.
Neither do I.
Goodbye, darling.
Bye.
Taxi!
Where to, ma'am?
1776 Jefferson Boulevard.
Okay. Every day in the stores, ma'am?
Oh, no, I just bought a little present for my husband's birthday.
Excuse me. Let me call into the dispatcher. 37, headed south to Jefferson, 1700 block. 17. Just a minute.
Why are we stopping?
Where did you say you wanted to go on Jefferson Boulevard?
1776. That's a number you can't forget.
Well, maybe you can't forget it, but you sure can get it mixed up. You don't want to go to 1776.
Why?
Because there ain't nothing on that 1700 block worth going to.
Well, I distinctly remember
Look, ma'am, I know this town. Well, give me a street, any street, I'll run it down. On 1700 block of Jefferson, you got the old foundry, and it's been deserted these past 18 years.
And Frank's 24-hour quality service station.
No more, you don't.
How can you say that?
Well, I can say that because Frank's been to see
It's 3 years now.
Well, the sign said...
Nobody ever bothered taking the sign down. It's too much trouble. That part of town, you can write it off.
Well, I spoke to Frank this morning.
No, lady, you didn't speak to Frank. Believe me, nobody's spoken to Frank in 3 years. Well, maybe he's St. Peter. Although I don't think Frank would have caught up there.
My husband is having his car fixed at Frank's right now.
Yeah?
So would you please take me to 1776 Jefferson Boulevard?
But, ma'am...
Now, shall I call a policeman or shall I hail another cab?
Well, ma'am, here you are. 1776 Jefferson.
And it says Frank's Quality Service, so I was right. What were you trying to...
Look at what else it says on the windows. Those big signs.
This property for sale. No.
Look, ma'am, the place is empty. It's been empty since Frank died.
But it can't be.
We were high school pals, Frank and I.
Look, I was here just this morning. I was here.
I remember going to Frank's wake.
We drove in, and those signs weren't up there. There were cars parked and men working in there,
and we went to the funeral.
He told Leo, my husband, he told Leo that the rocker arm needed fixing.
Ma'am, are you sure you want this place?
My husband. I left my husband here.
No, ma'am, I'm afraid you didn't leave anything or anybody.
Leo is in there, in that garage.
Where are you going? Can't you see it's locked? It's been locked for 3 years. There's nobody in there. I'm telling you, there's nobody in there.
What happened to my husband? What did they do to my husband?
Now, calm down, ma'am. Think. Are you sure this is the same?
I'm sure. I know. Don't you try to talk me out of it. I know. I was here exactly 1.5 hours ago. I was here. This place was open. This service station was operating, and there was a man here, Frank.
How do you know his name was Frank?
Because the name was written on his shirt.
Now, look, ma'am, I don't know what's going on.
My husband. I want my husband. Now, what happened to him?
Ma'am, try to hold on to yourself. Don't pass out, please. Don't faint on me. I wouldn't know what to do. Here, let me help you back to the cab.
Please. Oh, Leo. Leo, what did they do to me?
Oh, no. 37. 37. Come in, quit fooling, answer me. This is 37. Get me some cops. Get an ambulance. Get everybody over to 1776 Jefferson on the double, huh?
Well, how do you figure it? Frank's 24-hour quality service. Now you see it, now you don't. Nightmare? Illusion? Reality? Which are we dealing with? Could it be a mixture of all three? I'll return with some answers, but also with some more questions when I return in just a few moments with Act 2.
Buick introduces a new concept for you to consider in light of all the concern about miles per gallon. Range. Range is what you get when you multiply the mileage your car gets per gallon by the number of gallons your car's gas tank holds. Range is one of the things that help make Buick Apollo such a special small car. It comes from coupling the Apollo's economical 6-cylinder engine with a standard 21-gallon gas tank. It holds a lot, but it doesn't use a lot. Look into the Apollo. It's the Buick of small cars.
Hello, this is Goldilocks. It seems like only yesterday that I was a little girl tasting porridge. You know, this one's too hot. This one's too cold. And now I conduct taste tests on diet drinks. And there's one I must tell you about. Sugar-free Diet 7-Up. It has a fresh, natural, delicious taste. It drives my taste-o-meter crazy. Sugar-free Diet 7-Up. This one's just right.
Hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Hey, Mom, what you got?
Don't miss ShopRite's Big Dairy Deli Value Jubilee. Some of the great values include ShopRite butter, 1-pound brick, 69 cents. Tropicana orange juice, half-gallon carton, 59 cents. Oscar Mayer bacon, 99 cents a pound, and much more. Big values in the meat case, too. ShopRite Grade A whole frying chicken, just 35 cents a pound. Split or cut up fryers, 39 cents a pound. Roasting chickens up to 4 pounds, 39 cents a pound. Get a lot more for a little less this week at your ShopRite.
She loves the family. She wants the best. all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
Why don't you do some shopping while I'm having the car checked? Asks newlywed Leo Renard of his wife Ruth. Reasonable enough. And so, when her shopping is finished, Ruth returns to discover that the car is gone. Leo has disappeared, and the service station has been closed these past 3 years.
And you insist you actually were at that particular service station, Mrs. Renard?
Doctor, I know you are trying to be helpful, but we aren't going to get anywhere.
Why do you say that?
Well, to begin with, we have a severe difference of opinion.
But you...
Wait, please, let me finish. You think I'm crazy.
That isn't true.
Well, you have a medical term for it, I'm sure. Something to take the sharp, rough edge off it. But at this point, according to you, I'm not behaving normally. Now, does that state the case?
Well, look at it rationally.
Which, according to you, I'm not doing now.
That service station has been closed for 3 years. The man who owned it and ran it has been all this time.
Then how do you account for the fact that my husband and I were there this morning?
Would you agree to submit to some tests, Mrs. Renard?
I'll agree to anything at this point. I'll agree to anything that will convince you that I am as sane as you are. And once we establish that, and you start believing me, then perhaps we can find out what happened to Leo. Yes?
May I come in?
Who are you?
Lieutenant Powell, City Police.
Oh, suppose you can come in. What do you want?
I want to help you.
Well, you won't help me by telling me I'm crazy.
Why would I do that?
Because that's all the others can think of.
Well, to begin with, you don't look crazy.
Well, thanks. Do you have any influence around here?
A little. What do you need?
What I need is to get out of this hospital.
What you need is rest.
What I need is my husband.
I spoke to the doctors.
What do the doctors say to you?
You're suffering from shock.
I'll buy that.
You evidently can't face the fact that your husband has deserted you.
No, that's off the mark.
All right, tell me about it.
Oh, I've already told it to 3 different police officers.
Yeah, but I'm the one that counts. How long were you married?
2 weeks.
Where?
Is all this important?
Everything's important.
We were married in Reliance City.
By whom?
Well, what is that?
By whom?
The Justice of the Peace.
His name?
His name was Dunley. No, Dunleavy. Well, that's what the sign said. Emmett Dunleavy, J.P.
How long did you know your husband?
Well, it was one of those love at first sight things. But, of course, you being a cop, you wouldn't believe in that.
Oh, but I do. It's the only way. Tell me about him.
Well, he was in town on business.
What was his business?
Why is that your business?
Why is that an unreasonable question? Because you don't know and you're ashamed to admit it.
That's a lie.
Instead of asking, maybe I better tell you a few things. You don't really know what he did for a living, if anything.
But that's just...
It's all right. You don't have to say anything. Let's talk about the money.
The money?
The money you gave him.
How do you know?
My dear Mrs. Renard, you are now a member of a certain unfortunate sisterhood.
What are you insinuating about my husband?
Now, let's stick to the facts. How much of your money does he have?
It's not my money any longer.
It isn't?
No, when we married, we agreed to share everything.
And how much did you share with him?
Well, I had an inheritance from an aunt who died, and she left me
Yes, she left you...
$51,000.
I see.
I don't know what you think you see. We were going to invest it in the new business.
What new business?
He was interested in real estate, and I was a public stenographer at the hotel where he used to have dinner, and that's how we happened to meet. And we were going to go to Florida and get into a land development deal.
$51,000. In cash?
No, bonds. We put it in bonds.
Negotiable bonds, no doubt.
Well, we had to be able to raise cash in a hurry.
Of course.
Well, it just wasn't my money. He had close to $50,000 of his own.
You know this for a fact?
Well, that's what he said.
Now, look, Mrs. Renard, I want to help you. I want to find him. Hopefully we can recover all, or at least some, of your money.
Why do you insist that he... ran out on me. I've told you what happened.
You simply can't face the truth, can you? And you've created an hallucination about a garage.
Don't you start behaving like a psychiatrist, too.
Now, look, the sooner we get you to face reality, the sooner we can get you to think rationally and maybe give us some leads.
Look, I told you.
What we have to do is get rid of this service station delusion of yours.
But it isn't a delusion.
I spoke to the doctor. Lying around here in bed isn't doing you any good. I asked him if I could get you to work with me. Now, you can't remain here indefinitely. You're going to have to start some kind of new life for yourself.
Are you saying that Leo is...
I'm saying, one way or another, Leo is gone.
No.
Right now, I'll go talk to your doctor. Pick you up in about an hour, is that all right?
Wait, I want to thank you.
Yes, well, maybe now you're beginning to face reality.
Maybe.
Maybe what?
Oh, I don't know. I'm so...
Sure. It's a bad spot to be in.
You're really very kind.
No, I'm not. It's just a technique. Don't let it fool you.
Well, at least you've made me feel better.
You ready to face it?
I think so. Whatever it is, I guess I'm ready to face it.
You wanted to see what Mrs. Renard was carrying when she was brought here, Lieutenant?
It's important, Doctor.
Well, we're about to give her things back since we're releasing her. Just her clothes.
That's not important.
Her handbag. And this package. It's from Milady's.
Well, that's the most exclusive women's shop this side of New York.
I suppose she believed in treating herself right.
Why not? It was her money. Anything in the handbag?
Oh, the usual odds and ends.
Papers?
We couldn't find any.
Driver's license?
Nothing. No credit cards. No identification.
Oh, now that doesn't sound right.
Well, she said she was going off just briefly to shop, and she didn't want to be loaded down with a big handbag. So she just took a small purse with some money and makeup, left everything else in the car. There is this snapshot.
Must be Leo.
He'd have to be Leo.
You know something? He looks familiar.
He looks familiar because you've convinced yourself he's a confidence man.
That's right, he has to be. A smooth, experienced operator, too, which means he's been around, which means he may have done time, which means there's a make on him. His photo's been passed around throughout the country, and I would have seen it, and so maybe I'm remembering it subconsciously.
All you cops are getting into psychiatry these days.
Is that good or bad? Listen, let me borrow this snapshot. I'll have the boys run it down.
Yes, Lieutenant, I've decided. I've called a hotel. I'll take a place there, and when my money runs out, which will be pretty soon, I can find a job. I intend to stay here until...
Until what?
Until I find Leo or learn what happened to Leo.
Now, you say you were married by a justice of the peace in Reliance City.
That's right, and I'll never forget the man's name, Emmett Dunleavy. That's what the sign said in front of his house.
Who recommended him? I mean, how did you know to go to him?
Well, we got our license and we were driving along and we saw the sign.
Who was driving?
Leo.
Go on.
Well, that was it. We went inside and we were married.
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so, Lieutenant? What would you know about it?
All I'm saying, I don't think you were married.
Now, just a minute. The ceremony was performed.
We checked the city hall in Reliance City, and there's no record of your marriage.
But there has to be. Ruth Olson to Leo Renard.
No record of anyone named Renard getting married to anyone at all.
What are you trying to do to me?
And there's no justice of the peace named Emmett Dunleavy in Reliance City either.
But that was his name. The sign distinctly said that his name...
Look, I know it's hard to face so many disagreeable facts all at once, but there's no help for it.
Oh, I know what you think. You think Leo is a confidence man who was out to swindle me.
I'm going by what appear to be the facts in the case. I'm going by experience.
Well, I wouldn't fight you except...
Except that you love him.
Well, love doesn't make you blind. It's just... Well, one fact I simply cannot account for.
Yeah?
No matter what anyone says, Leo and I stopped at that service station. No matter what anyone says, it was open for business. No matter what anyone says, there was a man named Frank, and he said he'd fix the car in an hour and a half, and that I'd have time to go shopping.
Well, here we are. As you can see, closed, deserted. For rent sign on the window. Face it, Ruth, face it.
But it was real. so real.
Transnational gas pumps, okay? I called their office. They told me. Hasn't been a delivery here in 3 years since they canceled the franchise because the owner, Frank Walker, had died.
But it was real. It was real.
Now think, Ruth. What did happen?
I just don't know. Oh, God, Lieutenant, am I losing my mind?
But the service station was there. A man named Frank was there. We heard him speak. Or did we? Did the conversation actually take place at 1776 Jefferson Boulevard? Or was it all taking place in the mind of Ruth Renard, whose last name may not even be Renard, since there's no record of her marriage either? I'll be back shortly with Act 3.
You don't see many people putting salt in their beer nowadays. Not that there's anything wrong with salt on radishes or French fries, but, man, not in the king of beers. Truth is, the only thing salt can do for Budweiser is make it salty. An unwise thing to do to the only beer in America that's Beechwood aged. Unsalted Budweiser has become the most popular beer in the world. And that's because in brewing Bud, the Budweiser brewmaster goes all the way for a taste, a smoothness, a drinkability you'll find in no other beer at any price. And something else you can take without a grain of salt. The fact that when you say Budweiser, you've said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
Amco Transmissions, Chuck speaking. How may we help you?
Oh, boy, have I got problems. I got a really fantastic 58 Pontiac with a busted automatic transmission and a mother-in-law that's been visiting me for 10 days.
well, we can help you with the Pontiac.
No, don't kid a desperate man. Now, look, can you really fix up a car that old?
Oh, sure. Amco serviced over 3 million automatic transmissions, and over 400,000 of them were Pontiacs. We know Pontiac's cold.
Pontiac, Ventura, and the Firebird, and the Bonneville, Catalina, and also Grand Prix.
Terrific. Okay, now look, you send the tow truck and I'll help her pack.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah. The 58 Pontiac belongs to my mother-in-law.
Aw, nobody knows her automatic transmission better than Amco. Double A, MCO.
She still insists she left her car there to be fixed under the watchful eye of her husband. The authorities insist that Leo ran out on her, or perhaps there never was a Leo, and she creates this fiction because she cannot accept reality. Well, what is reality?
Well, come on. Let's take a look at the place. As you can see, Ruth, deserted.
But as you can see, Lieutenant, it's spick and span. How clean this place looks. Does this have the appearance of a shop that's been closed for 3 years? Well, where's all the litter that would collect? Why aren't these windows grimy and dusty?
I checked it out with the real estate people. They keep the place shaped up. After all, they are trying to get rid of the place, you know.
I was inside this place yesterday.
But there's a padlock on the door.
Whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, I know this. I was here.
Okay, let's go inside. The real estate people gave me the key.
You don't believe me. It's obvious by your manner.
Well, that's no good. It's bad for me to have an obvious manner.
Sorry. I know you're trying to be nice.
Well, I'm only trying to find some answers. Come on in. Well, does it look familiar?
This only makes me more certain. I was here. I stood right here at this counter when Leo came out of the shop, which is right through that door, with Frank.
Yeah?
And told me what had to be done with the car.
What you're saying is this visit only reinforces your conviction that you were here.
Absolutely.
Well, let's stay with that for a little while anyhow. How long were you gone?
Exactly an hour and a half. I've already told.
Yeah, I know. Are you sure positive. And what did you do?
But I already... All right, never mind. I went to this Golden Mall.
Yes, and?
And I shopped.
Buy anything?
Well, I wasn't in too much of a mood for shopping. I missed Leo, and I was hungry. So I ran into a shop, and I picked up a nightgown.
That took an hour and a half?
No, I wandered around. I looked in windows, had a cup of coffee, and I even called Leo. I was away from him for 3/4 of an hour, and I missed him so much I just had to call him.
You called Leo here?
Yes, here.
Here. I don't see a phone here.
Well, there must be. I phoned him. I spoke with him. How can you...
Well, where's the phone?
I don't know. Maybe it's in the office.
The office?
Well, maybe the man, Frank, has a private office, and that's where his phone
Well, let's look around. Yeah, you're right. It's got a little cubbyhole here with a desk. Sure enough, a phone.
Well, finally, have I said something you can believe?
The phone's no dial tone. I guess it isn't connected.
I spoke on the phone to Leo. And the man, Frank, he answered it.
Sure.
Oh, your tone of voice.
Please, I don't mean anything.
You can't help it. You want to be nice to me, but you think I'm crazy.
No, I'm trying to go along with it.
With what?
With everything you say. What we need right now, more than anything else, is a break. Who knows? Maybe we'll get one.
Kind of you to take me to dinner.
It's a line of duty. I can even put it on my expense account.
You said that you had an important development.
I think we do.
Well, can you tell me?
We think we know who Leo is.
What do you mean? You know who he is?
His real name is Wallace, Leo Wallace.
That's impossible.
Better let me finish.
But,
listen, we had his picture.
Where? How? How could you get his picture?
It was in your handbag.
Oh.
I ran it through the routine, and there's a very strong likeness to a Leo Wallace. A very skillful confidence man.
Oh.
Now, Leo had turned in a very big score. He'd flim-flammed some old gent out of about $1.5 million.
Well, I don't believe it.
Maybe you'd better hear it first. He denied it. The jury voted against him. He got a minimum of 10 years, but there was an appeal. And just a few months ago, they found some irregularities in the trial, and he was freed.
Oh.
How about the money?
The money?
The money he's supposed to have stolen.
Oh.
If he did steal it, he has it hidden somewhere. So you see, there's a motive on someone's part to get him and get at the money.
I never dreamed that Leo could...
Yeah, well, as I say, we can't prove it. All we know is that your Leo's picture looks like this Leo Wallace.
Then I don't have to be crazy. This could have all been just a plot, don't you see? You thought Leo was out to steal my money, and as it turns out, there were people after Leo. They could have arranged the whole service station setup.
Well, it's not impossible.
Well, then can't you do something?
How he could have arrived at this service station is something I'll get to later. The fact is, he did go there.
Well, I tell you he did. We did.
If only we can put him there, things would make sense. You wouldn't be crazy. We'd have a lead. Why pick Frank's service station? It isn't the first one you came to.
It was the first transnational gas station, and that was his credit card.
Are you capable of being objective right now?
I'm trying to prove to you I am not crazy.
Well, pretend for a moment that all this happened to somebody else. Pretend that this is a story I'm telling you.
I don't see why.
A young woman tells a cab driver to take her to a non-existent gas station.
But I had been there with my husband.
We don't know that. We only have your word for it. So, when they arrive, she becomes hysterical and she tells the story you've told us. Okay, we check. We find out there is no record of the girl's marriage. No record of the justice who she claims married her to her husband. And her husband is most likely a notorious confidence operator, newly released from jail.
Why would I lie
to continue, please. And we know very little about the girl herself. She worked at the hotel in Reliance City as a public stenographer for only a month. There's no family.
I lost my parents years ago. I'm an only child. I had one aunt who's...
Well, everything is so vague. We can't find anyone who's ever seen this girl with her husband.
But we stopped at 3 motels between here and Reliance City.
No one remembers seeing a Mr. Renard.
You can check their registers. They must prove they're Mr. and Mrs. Renard stopped there.
Two of the clerks remember a Mrs. Renard.
That's because I went into the lobby to sign the registers while Leo took care of the bags.
Now, once again, we have that same problem. Admit it now. If this were someone else's story, would you believe it?
All right, I know. It sounds like... But if it is a hallucination, where did it start? No, it's real.
You said to the cabbie that you bought a gift for your husband.
I did.
No, you didn't. You bought a nightgown at Milady.
Oh, but
Why would you lie? Or maybe it isn't a lie. Maybe subconsciously you know you don't have a husband, therefore you really couldn't buy him a present.
Then why would I have his picture in my purse?
You may have found it somewhere. Maybe without knowing it, you fell in love with his picture and...
Why is it all so real?
I keep tripping you up all the time. Your story has so many holes. For instance, why do you say you called from the mall when that phone has been disconnected for 3 years?
But I did call. You have to believe me.
Well, that means I have to believe your whole story, all of it.
All of it is true.
Yeah, and yet I can't check any of it. Wait a minute. There's one part I can check. And if you're telling me the truth about that one little part, then the whole story could make sense.
What is that part?
No, I don't want to get your hopes up. I'll see you at the hotel.
Oh, but I'd like to know.
No, there isn't very much I can do about it till the morning anyhow.
Sergeant Flowers?
Lieutenant Powell. Sergeant, there's a telephone at 1776 Jefferson Boulevard. You got that?
Yes, sir.
It should have been disconnected for about 3 years. I want you to find out if it was temporarily restored to service recently. If so, by whom? Somebody had to pay a deposit. I want the name and address.
Yes, sir.
I want that information immediately.
Okay, Leo, take a little drink. That's good. It'll make you feel better. There you are. Now, you gonna be sensible?
You can drop.
Leo, as long as you're willing to catch, I can pitch. Be reasonable. I don't want all the money.
I don't care if you kill me.
It can come to that. Now, look, the old guys, you can't give it back to him anymore.
He has a family.
And every one of them a millionaire. Leo, why should the rich always get richer? I seen crooks like you go soft, start to worry about right and wrong. Believe me, it don't last. It wears off. I'm only trying to save you from yourself.
You punk, I should have recognized you at that gas station.
Hey, wasn't it a great wig and a mustache? I look good in it, huh? Leo, back in the jailhouse, I protected you against all those dudes who wanted to shake the secret out of you. I saved your life. You promised me my peace. I'm entitled. I'm entitled. I'll kill you.
Why, you punk. You're at the end of the line. You blew it. You blew it. You'll kill me for nothing, and this time they'll send you up for life.
Never. You think I'm not going to kill you if you don't lead us to the door? That's wrong. I'll kill you.
Go ahead, punk. Go ahead.
Please, Leo, don't make me do it.
Get him one more time, punk, and I'll blow your head off.
Hey, what?
Keep your hands up high where I can see him. That's good. Bill, Eddie, hustle this one down to headquarters.
You sucker. We could have been rich. We could have been rich. What do you get out of it this way?
So, you're Leo. You all right?
Yeah. Takes more than a punk like him.
Here, let me get you untied. I guess she was telling the truth all this time, huh? Can you stand?
Yeah, okay.
You're quite a guy, Leo. I have to go to headquarters to book him. I'll need you, too.
Sure.
I know you want to see Ruth. Why don't I drop you off at her hotel? You'll want to be alone for a while.
Yeah, thanks.
You can both come down later. There's no hurry.
Just a minute. Leo. Oh, Leo, darling.
Hello, Ruth.
Leo, how did you... What made you... No. I don't want to talk. I just want to hold you. Leo! Oof, Leo, are you...
Crazy, no.
Oh.
But I would be if I couldn't figure it out.
Figure what out?
That gas station, that was all a setup.
Leo!
How did they know I would stop right there, huh? What? How could they be sure? Somebody had to loosen the gasket just enough to make that noise. Somebody had to say, let's get off the highway at that particular exit. Somebody had to practically lead me by the hand right into the setup.
Leo, why would I...
$1.5 million. That's a big enough...
Leo, I love you.
Oh, sure.
How can you even think
and
that
it's the right way to do it, too. I disappear. You become the poor, distraught, deserted wife. The mobsters figure you've been double-crossed, too. The heat's off you forever.
Leo, how can I convince you? What can I say?
It's a great plan, baby. Even the phone call, that little cubbyhole office. The only place in the station that isn't open to view from the street. The only place where it's safe to jump me. That's why you installed the phone. Get me out of sight, distract me.
Leo, please.
But the punk blew it. He gave his right name to the phone company, his correct address. So they were able to check him out. The punk wanted to save a $30 deposit. For $30. He blew his shot at $1.5 million.
Leo, I swear
he always
to
was
you.
a punk. And now for you, baby.
Leo, why are you looking at me like that?
I think I'm going to kill you.
Leo, it's all in your mind.
Oh, sure.
I swear I had nothing to do with it. I love you. I love you. Let me prove it. Wait, here. Look, that's my purse on the night table. See? In the purse is a .22 caliber revolver. You look inside it. All right. You'll find it. Now, if you really think I'm guilty, go ahead and kill me. We'll shoot. Kill me. What are you waiting for? You see, you can't do it. You love me. You can't do it. You love
Leo,
me.
don't be crazy.
Lieutenant Powell, Leo's going crazy.
Just stay where you are, Powell. Just stay there.
Leo, what are you going to do? Are you out of your mind? I let you come up here alone so you could figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, I understand, and I have to kill her.
Lieutenant, you can't just stand there.
There's nothing he or anyone else can do, Ruth, except... Hey, Paul, if she goes to jail, what can she get?
At least 10.
10, huh? In 10 years, that beauty, that terrible, overpowering beauty of hers that blinds you, that beauty will be gone. She'll be old, worn and bitter, as good as, but almost half a lifetime still in front of her.
Leo, give me a chance.
If I kill her now, it's too easy. That will be over in a second. Take her, Lieutenant, take her. We'll kill her the right way, legally, just...
Leo, I love you.
I love you too, Ruth. I love you more than anything in this whole wide world. But I'll get over it.
You'll never get over me.
Oh, I'll get over you, baby. And if I can't, if I don't, if I still love you 10 years from now, I'll be waiting for you. Outside the prison gate.
Did Leo get over Ruth? Or did his love continue? Did he meet her at the prison gate 10 years after? We don't know. It hasn't been 10 years yet. What a story that would make. And we hope all of us will be around 10 years from now to hear it. I'll be back shortly.
And now, another story of the ball and chain, as Kellogg's Special K presents The Library.
Welcome to the public library. May I help you, sir?
Yes, I'd like to check out... Famous Laundromats of the World by Audrey Schnorbart.
Sir, excuse me, but isn't that ball and chain you're wearing just like the ones they use in the Kellogg's Special K commercial?
This ball and chain?
It's that one. How are you going to get rid of it?
Well, lots of good exercises, and by eating smart at every meal, starting with the Special K breakfast.
Don't you have to watch your calories?
Yes, and the Special K breakfast is less than 240 calories.
Less than 240 calories?
Right. A 1-ounce bowl of high-protein Special K, 4 ounces of skim milk, tomato juice, and coffee. It's really tasty, and it's going to help me get rid of this ball and chain. I'd say it's long overdue, get it?
Your happy ending could begin with the Special K breakfast from Kellogg's.
You've been hearing some pretty lavish claims recently about miles per gallon. We'd like you to consider something equally important, and that's range. Range is the miles per gallon multiplied by the number of gallons your car's tank holds. Range is what makes the Buick Apollo such a special small car. It comes from coupling the Apollo's economical 6-cylinder engine with a standard 21-gallon tank. It holds a lot, but it doesn't use a lot. Look into the Apollo. It's the Buick of small cars.
Hi, Ms. Goldilocks here. Professionally taste-testing diet drinks can be very difficult, but I've just had to bear with it. Then I found sugar-free Diet 7-Up. It doesn't taste like other diet drinks. It's fresh, light, natural, delicious. Sugar-free Diet 7-Up tastes so good that I've taste-tested it hundreds of times, and each time I've given it my seal of approval. Yes, this one's just right.
Now, this word from the New York Graphic Society.
Midnight in the cemetery. The casket lid lifts slowly, and a tall creature with glowing eyes rises from the coffin. From time immemorial, man has been frightened and fascinated by the night-roaming, blood-sucking creature. A captivating new book, A Clutch of Vampires, now presents the very best tales from both history and literature. Spanning 2,000 years, it is the most diversified, enthralling collection of vampirana ever published. A Clutch of Vampires by Raymond McNally.
Our cast included Marion Seldes, George Petrie, Larry Haynes, and Gil Mack. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division, the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal, and new sugar-free Diet 7-Up. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The WR Mystery Theater has been brought to you by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less, and by Suburban Savings, with offices throughout North Jersey. The preceding Mystery Theater program is furnished by the CBS Radio Network. This is WR New York and RKO General Station.
I'm Fulton Lewis in the Mutual Broadcasting System studios in Washington, D.C. Now, my commentary. A team of White House advance men left for the Middle East today in preparation for a trip by President Nixon. The announcement of the formal itinerary for the president is expected to be made by the White House tomorrow. The advance team, numbering more than a dozen and including experts in such fields as communications, security, and protocol, is going to visit each of the half-dozen or so countries that the president is expected to tour. Officials said that the White House is preparing to make a formal announcement tomorrow regarding the president's intention to become the first American president ever to make an extensive tour of the Middle East. His trip's expected to begin next week and last 7 to 10 days, with stopovers in Israel, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and perhaps such countries as Jordan, Syria, and Iran. The president is scheduled to return to the United States before making a second separate trip to the Soviet Union for summit talks with Kremlin leaders beginning June 27th. In Cairo, sources said that the Nile Hilton Hotel was alerted today to reserve 8 floors or some 320 rooms for the president's visit to Egypt. The alert mentioned starting dates of June 9th or 10th and said that the rooms were to be held for 3 days. There was no immediate comment from either the U.S. Embassy or the Egyptian government regarding those reports. The Cairo press, meanwhile, reported that a special meeting was to be held there on Monday to discuss presidential security during the visit. Here on the home front, the White House continued today its refusal to pledge that President Nixon may abide by a Supreme Court ruling in the Watergate subpoena controversy. Deputy Press Secretary Gerald Warren replied to a barrage of news briefing questions on the matter by saying anything I would say would be irresponsible. He referred to statements by the president's chief Watergate lawyer, James St. Clair, that he is confident that the Supreme Court will sustain the president's position. The presidential spokesman said that the White House would file briefs and make its arguments, but when he was pressed repeatedly on whether the president would abide by a court decision, Warren said, "I'm not going to speculate one way or the other." In the meantime, former presidential aide Charles Colson entered a plea of guilty today to leading an attempt in 1971 to influence the outcome of the Daniel Ellsberg trial. His bargain plea to the new single-count criminal information brought by the Special Prosecutor's Office was met with assurances that the grand jury indictments against him in 2 separate cases would be dropped. U.S. District Court Judge Gerhard Gesell set sentencing for June 21st. That's 4 days after Colson and 4 other defendants were tentatively scheduled to go on trial in Gesell's court for the formal break-in at the office of Daniel Ellsberg, psychiatrist in Los Angeles. Governor Daniel Evans of Washington told his fellow governors in Seattle today that it has been the states rather than the federal government which have risen to the problems of the new Watergate era. He said in a number of current issues, including government ethics, campaign finance reform, consumer protection, and no-fault insurance, the record of many of the states has been one of decisive action in contrast to that of the inaction on the part of the national government. Keynoting the National Governors Conference, Evans hit again on a theme that he had set in a Sunday news conference in which he said the states have quite clearly taken national leadership in cleaning up government. Evans said in his speech today, "It has been the states who have responded most fully to the problems of the day. This has been a response not in terms of empty rhetoric without action or visionary promises without dollars. It has been a response which has required executive and legislative courage, sound fiscal management, plus a willingness both to listen and to act. It has required the states who do not have the luxury of the national government to increase the money supply or to engage in deficit spending, to increase their budgets and to raise the necessary taxes to meet the requirements of the people." Evans then called on the governors to increase their initiative and play a stronger role in the creation of federal policy and federal programs. He said, "The states, and most specifically the governors, must seize the initiative and submit their own proposals to the Congress rather than passively wait to give reaction to federal proposals." Although Evans never mentioned Watergate by name, he did make several references to problems of ethics and failure of the federal government to address the practical problems that are facing the nation. Governor Evans is the outgoing president of the National Governors Association. He called the present situation a time of citizen bewilderment and dismay over its political system. Modern national goals, he added, are desperately needed. Let the states and their governors now step forward. With serious national questions of the balance of power between the legislative and executive branches, a reordering of our federal system should be of high priority. No greater weapon exists against an unwarranted concentration of power in one branch of the federal government than to completely redistribute power and initiate back to capable and receptive state and local governments. His speech marked the formal opening of a 3-day meeting devoted to discussion of such current issues as federal-state relations, ethics in government, and health care. In London today, the British government said that it's not going to withdraw its army from Northern Ireland. It warned that retreat would bring a large-scale bloodbath between Protestants and Roman Catholics in that province. Britain's administrator for Northern Ireland coupled his warning with a prediction that communal strife and violence could also erupt in other parts of Britain if the troops do pull out. A new and different type of Protestant nationalism, a working-class nationalism, has arisen in the province, he told the House of Commons. He said that it had the backing of industrialists, farmers, and even civil servants. He said that the Protestants had amassed big stocks of arms, some of which had been financed from abroad. In such a situation, he added, we must not run away from our obligations. From the Mutual Studios in Washington, I'm Fulton Lewis, and that's the top of the news as it looks from here. Theater.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Join me in a journey over a strange terrain. A terrain filled with terror and clouded by suspense. And ask yourself, how long is a minute? What is eternity? And learn, perhaps, that one can be as long as the other. Our mystery drama, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, was adapted from the story by Ambrose Bierce, especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan, and stars William Prince. They're going to hang Peyton Forrester. Hang him by the neck until he is... Hang him high from the top of the Owl Creek Bridge, 50 feet above the rushing torrent, which is now raging in full flood. Peyton Forrester stands on a single, fragile plank. The rope is already around his neck. 30 feet of slack neatly coiled beside his boots. But this is not a lynching, nor even an ordinary execution. This is a formal military ceremony. Peyton Forrester is a rebel, literally a Southern civilian, and he has been captured by the Union Army in the fall of this year of 1863 as he tried to sabotage the Owl Creek Railroad Bridge. And now he must pay the price. Actually, the only distress evident in the entire scene seems to be manifested by a young soldier who, with his corporal, is stationed some 10 feet from Peyton Forrester, where they serve solemnly as his guards.
Corporal?
Just stand steady, boy. Just you stand steady.
I'm going to be sick.
Oh, no, you ain't, Woody boy. No, you ain't. Now, this thing will be over in less than a minute. See?
Corporal?
See? Sergeant Smith's getting the board ready.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Just you take some deep breaths, son. You're going to be all right. Like I said, he's positioning the board that's supporting the plank that Johnny Reb is standing on.
I said I don't want to look.
Now, nobody says you got to look, Woody boy. Only it's a pity to miss a good hanging. How many you expect to see in your lifetime?
I don't want to see none.
This one here, this is a prime hanging. Son, much of the time you get to see cutthroats and riffraff and lowlifes. But here, you got a gentleman.
Corporal?
Yeah, boy?
The prisoner.
What about the prisoner?
Well, what do you suppose the prisoner is thinking about right now?
What indeed am I thinking about? I'm thinking that the water I see below me has been turned to gold by the early sun. Gold. Golden. The same golden tints I see in Millicent's hair. I'm thinking of Millicent. Millicent. Golden Millicent. And I hear the very last words she spoke to me. It seems ages, centuries ago. Is it true? Can it be true that it was only last night?
Peyton?
Yes, Millicent, darling.
Now, young Robbie Tompkins is here.
Robbie? I thought he was raiding Yankee supply lines.
Oh, he was. He's back.
He's safe now, bless him.
Well, he needs a horse.
We can have anything he wants. Bring him in here. Why? Why do you keep him waiting?
Now, you and I must talk first, Peyton.
You mean one of the true heroes of our country must be kept cooling his heels while you and I...
He's not exactly cooling his heels, Peyton. He's busy having his first decent meal in weeks.
But I want to see him this minute. After all, he hasn't much time to spend here. He must be in a rush to get home, see his folks.
He's not headed home.
He's not?
No, he's off on a mission.
What do you mean?
Well, it has something to do with blowing up a bridge someplace.
Well, then he needs help.
Peyton, I was afraid...
I've been sitting here doing nothing for almost 3 years.
Now, that's not true. You've been raising food and you've been growing cotton.
While better men have been getting killed.
Now, what you're doing is more important.
And safer and
Well,
easier.
it's not your fault the doctors say you're unfit to serve.
But I'm fit enough to help Robbie Tompkins blow up a bridge.
Oh, Peyton, darling.
No, honey. You know I can't shirk if there's a job to be done.
You've got your job.
No, honey. It's not enough.
Don't go.
What are we arguing about? He hasn't even asked me.
He'll ask you, Peyton. He'll ask you.
Well, then I've got no choice.
Please listen to me. You've always been a man of honor. Now, be a man of common sense.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Peyton, the war is over.
What are you saying?
We have been bled white at Gettysburg.
The war has just begun.
Peyton, for 6 months, maybe a year, there'll be more slaughter, but it'll be for nothing. The war is over.
Don't say that.
But it's the truth.
Millicent, don't you believe anymore?
I believe we need a miracle.
Then we'll have a miracle. We'll work harder. We'll fight harder. We'll pray harder. You'll see. We'll have that miracle.
You, Mr. Peyton Forrester! Robbie, you young scoundrel! You come in here this minute.
Oh, Peyton, you are a sight for sore eyes. Tell me how you outsmarted the Yankees. You tell me everything.
Later. Right now, I need all the darkness I can get.
Hey, well, what's this about a bridge?
The railroad bridge at Owl Creek.
Are the Yankees at Owl Creek already?
That bridge must be destroyed, Peyton.
One little barrel of gunpowder? Under the truss? On this side of the river?
I figured you'd know the exact spot.
And I've got the gunpowder, too. Fuses, all we need.
Peyton, Jeff Stewart's cavalry's here.
Darling, by the time we explain it to General Stewart, we could turn the whole entire bridge into burnt matchsticks. Now, Robbie.
Yes, sir.
Now, you go round the back. Get yourself a horse. You'll leave in 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Peyton.
Honey, you know I have no choice.
But I hear the Yankee general has issued an order. Any civilian caught interfering with the railroad, the bridges, the tunnels, the trains will be hanged.
I know, Millicent. We do the same.
But I beg you not.
Darling, you know what I must do.
But you have children.
Am I the only father in the South?
Peyton, I won't let you
Millicent,
go.
Please, help me.
What can I do to...
Pray for me. Pray for the miracle. Robbie, up yonder, the bridge.
We must be right in the middle of the Yankee camp, Peyton.
Keep low to the ground. They won't see us.
So I said to Mama, I promise I ain't going to take up with any bad women.
I hope, Woody, you kept your promise.
Well, I ain't had a chance to test it one way or the other so far, Corporal.
To tell the truth, Woody, actually there ain't no such thing as a bad woman.
That should be a corporal. Maybe 5, 6 men.
Let's move to the right. Now.
Hey, Corporal, you hear something out there?
Son, you start seeing Johnny Rebs behind every tree and we won't get a wink of sleep.
Yeah, but I'm sure I heard...
Spence is supposed to be pulling guard duty out there.
Hold it, Robbie. There's a sentry between us and the bridge.
Now I see him. Headed this way.
We have to get rid of him.
I'll do it. He doesn't know we're here. As he walks past, I'll jump him.
He is dead, Peyton. All right, let's go set the keg in place. Light the fuse. We'll dive into the water. Swim for it.
Say, it's time to relieve Spencer. Hey, Spence! Come on in. Woody'll stand guard.
Hurry, Robbie. Yeah.
Spencer!
Corporal, I hear somebody out there.
Huh? Everybody, grab your weapon. On the double.
Right.
Hand me the fuse, Robbie.
There they are!
Hold!
Robbie, I'm hit, Peyton. I'm hit. Robbie, let me. No, run for it, Peyton.
Hold your fire.
Run for it.
We can take them alive.
What's he thinking about, Corporal? Waiting there for the rope to snap. What must he be thinking about?
What would any man be thinking about, Woody? The wife? The kids?
I wish we hadn't caught him last night.
It was our duty.
It would have been so much better if we'd have shot him like his pal.
Do you hear that, Woody?
What? I hear nothing.
Nothing. That's exactly it. Nothing. Sergeant Smith has just finished positioning his board.
He has got it in a state now where one more blow releases the plank Peyton Forrester is standing on. And then, down he goes, till the rope snaps.
I don't want to hear it.
Look, the captain knows Sergeant Smith is ready. When he raises, then lowers his sword, Sergeant Smith is going to give that board one whack. And that's it.
And Forrester knows it. He can see it. What must that man be thinking about?
I'm no longer thinking, son. I'm praying. Praying for a miracle. I'm praying the rope is going to snap and break. And I'll get my hands free. And I'll fall into the river. And it'll carry me swiftly away from here to safety. That's what I'm doing, son. I'm praying. Praying for the miracle. Sister Millicent is praying. Just you're praying too, I can tell by your voice, son. You don't want me to die this way. With all of us praying, has to be a miracle. Has to be.
Oh, dear Lord. The captain, he's raising his saber.
Woody, you don't have to look.
He's bringing it down.
Goodbye, Johnny Reb.
Corporal, look! The rope! The rope! It snapped! It broke! Is it broke? Is it broke? The miracle! The miracle! Get my hands free! Roger, I've got to get him free! Come up for air! I'm getting it! Oh, it's loose! I'm free! Free! Air! Air! I need air! Air!
There he is, moving downstream.
Captain, there he is!
Shoot!
Fire! Fire all, Yanks! Fire all day, Yanks! Fire everything you got! You won't hit me! You can't hit me! It's a miracle!
A miracle. Perhaps if you want something strongly enough and pray hard enough, the rope can break, the rifles can miss, and you will not drown in the raging torrent. Miracles do happen. Have we had one here? It is late in the year 1863. Peyton Forrester, a Southern civilian, has attempted to sabotage the railroad bridge high across Owl Creek. He's been caught by the Union Army and hanged from the bridge. No, not quite. As his living body hurtled downward, the rope that was supposed to snap and break his neck instead broke. Peyton has fallen unharmed into the stream. A squad of soldiers is in rapid but futile pursuit.
It's a miracle! Miracle! You can't shoot a miracle!
Spread the alarm! He's escaped!
I've got to get to General Stewart. I've got to. If we destroy the bridge, the whole Yankee army and this side will be cut off. No supplies, no ammunition. I've got to get to Jeb Stewart.
Get away from here! Now get away, you tramp!
Please, ma'am.
I warn you, I've got a rifle aimed at your head!
I mean you no harm. I need your help. I'm Peyton Forrester.
Peyton Forrester? No, just a second. I still got this gun aimed at your head. Good Lord! It is Mr. Forrester. Come in, sir. I'm Sally Watson.
The Yanks are after me. Just a bite of bread and a glass of water. I have to keep moving.
Peyton Forrester, the man the Yankees couldn't kill.
I have to hurry.
You have to rest.
No, there's not time.
But you're going to drop. Sit down, sir. Sit for a minute.
All right, just
just for a minute.
Now, I got a piece of meat here, and I'll heat it with some beer.
No, I don't have time.
Just rest.
There's a storm coming up.
Storm?
You can hear the wind.
I don't hear nothing.
Can't you hear the whistle of the wind?
But the whole Yankee army's out looking for you, Mr. Forrester.
Where's General Jeb Stewart?
I reckon he's a good 10 miles southwest.
I've got to get to Stewart.
Now, first, you have something to eat.
How far the Yankees come since last night?
Well, I hear they're past Tuckersburg.
Well, then, that means they've already reached my place. I can't just sit here.
Now, just have something to eat. You have to do enough traveling.
Look, down the road.
Yankee patrol.
And it's headed this way.
Oh.
Better not be found here.
You have to hide.
Where?
In the cellar.
No. It's the first place they'd look.
It's only safe.
But if they find me here, you'll be shot for sheltering a fugitive.
They won't shoot a woman.
Least they'll do is burn your house down.
Or you just let them.
No, my only chance is to run for it.
Get out the back way. I'll hold them off for you. Hurry before they see you.
Bye, Miss Watson.
Goodbye, Mr. Forrester.
Let's search that house, man.
Corporal.
Now, you men out there, that's far enough. You stop where you are. This is private property.
We mean you no harm, lady. We're looking for a fugitive.
Well, I ain't seen none.
We're obliged to search your house, ma'am.
You just stand where you are. I know how to use this rifle.
That's another thing, ma'am. Civilians ain't supposed to have weapons. You'll have to hand that over.
You want this rifle? You just come and get it.
Now, ma'am, be reasonable. Nobody has to get hurt.
Hey, Corporal, way yonder in the field. Is that someone running?
Let's go, men.
Stay still.
Let's go.
What?
I said stand still. I'll shoot the first man that moves.
Now, ma'am, you can't interfere with the United States Army.
Well, maybe I can't, but I'm doing it.
Ma'am, I never shot a woman.
That makes us even. I never shot a man. Looks like it's going to be a first time for both of us.
Men, after him. Move out.
No, I'll shoot.
Look out, Corporal.
I'm sorry, man. I'm awful sorry.
Run, Mr. Forrester. Run for it. They'll never catch us, sir. Nobody can ever catch you.
Rayburn. John Rayburn.
Whoa!
Rayburn.
Hey, it's Mr. Forrester.
Rayburn. The Yankees are after me.
Well, you don't have to worry about the Yankees, Mr. Forrester. They can't kill you. Nobody, nothing can kill you.
Let me hide in your wagon, underneath your load of hay. Yankees are still down along this road, but they're headed this way. Soon the storm will drive them back to camp.
Yeah, well, what storm?
Well, can't you hear the storm? The wind.
Oh, sure.
But they'll have to come this way. They mustn't see me, Rayburn.
Get underneath the hay, Mr. Forrester. Get underneath quicker than lightning. Hey, you all set, Mr. Forrester? Let's get. Come on, you broke down, bandy-legged polecats. Get up! There's just no sign of him, Corporal.
All right. Rest of you men, let's head back.
I guess he got away, huh, Corporal?
Oh, not for long. He's still a good ways from the rebel lines. We got men sweeping every square inch of the ground. Yeah. Now, what's that?
Well, since you come from the city, Corporal, that's a hay wagon.
Yeah? We'll see about that. Hey, you!
Yeah, yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
What you got on that wagon?
Guess I got me a load of hay.
What else?
Well, nothing else.
Nothing else, huh? You sure? You're sure there's nothing living in that load?
Well, there might be one or two field mice. Sometimes they get pitched in with the hay.
Field mice, eh?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not.
Well, let's see. Let's see about everything. You men, fix bayonets. Now, let us ventilate that hay a little bit. Just. That's it. Up and down. All the way across. Come Come on now, put a little muscle in there. That's not how I taught you to use a bayonet. Thrust! That's it. Everybody's doing just fine. Anybody got himself a little red on this blade? No? Well, maybe there's just hay in there after all. All right, men, all right, that's enough. See? Bayonet's good for something else beside roasting potatoes. What's your name, Rebel?
Zeke Rayburn.
Mr. Rayburn, go your way. Go in peace. You're a fortunate man. Indeed you are.
Get up! Get up! Get up! Mr. Forrester. Mr. Forrester, you all right? Mr. Forrester, it's all right to come out now.
Yes, I'm all right. Had a bayonet thrust through my coat, but that was all.
Oh, the Lord be praised, Mr. Forrester. The Lord be praised.
You better get your load in before the storm hits, Rayburn.
What storm, Mr. Forrester?
Well, don't you hear it?
Hear what?
The wind. Can't you hear it whistle past your ears?
No, sir.
It must be my imagination.
We're lucky there was infantry soldiers.
What do you mean?
There was cavalry. Well, they might have decided to take the hay for their own horses, and then it would have been all over for you.
Yes. How far is it to our lines?
Well, it's no more than 1.5 miles, but here's where we start running into patrols. You'd be better off on foot. At least you'd have trees and bushes for cover.
You're right.
Whoa there!
Thank you, Rayburn. I'm grateful.
It's all of us who ought to be grateful to you, Mr. Forrester. Everybody's talking about it. It's like a miracle.
Yes, Rayburn. It is.
Now, you keep to the line of trees on your left. You follow them into a little ravine, and on the other side is Jeb Stewart's cavalry.
Goodbye, Rayburn.
Goodbye, Mr. Forrester.
Forrester, don't be scared.
Who are you?
Lieutenant Burns, with Stewart's cavalry.
What?
Shh. There's a Yankee troop up ahead. You scared one of the sentries. Lie still just for a minute.
What are you doing here?
Well, some of us come out to look for you. Figure you'd be headed this way.
Well, then, I'm saved. Saved?
Well, we got to get home first, but that's nothing. I got a squad in back of me. When I give the signal, they'll open fire. And while everybody's shooting, you and I'll sneak away. Are you ready?
Ready.
Now!
Let's go, Forrester. Let's go!
Peyton Forrester.
General Stewart.
Mr. Forrester, let me shake your hand. Word of your exploit has spread through the entire South.
Sir, I can only say I prayed for a miracle.
And we needed it. It's been a dark year for us. But now men, women throughout the country are taking heart once more.
Thank you, sir.
You had to make your way through an entire Union army to get here.
I had help, sir. Loyal Southerners fed me, sheltered me, and even fought for me.
We're going to win this war, Forrester. I've never been as convinced of it as I am now. I see new spirit in all my men. And it's all due to you.
I only did my duty, sir. And, well, no. No, I can't say I did my duty. I failed.
You failed?
Yes, sir. I didn't accomplish my mission. Robbie Tompkins and I set out to destroy the Owl Creek Bridge. Robbie, and the bridge still stands. The explosion was not strong enough. The bridge must be destroyed.
But I don't have the men.
But you don't need men. Oh, it's strange.
What's strange?
The wind feels like a storm, and yet And yet the trees are still.
Why do you say I don't need men to take Owl Creek Bridge?
The wind. Why is the wind howling like that?
Why don't I need men, Forrester?
Because I'm not talking about an assault. Just give me one volunteer, and we'll accomplish what Robbie and I set out to do last time.
You'll never get near the bridge.
General, the Federals have at least 3 divisions this side of Owl Creek. If we destroy the bridge, we cut their only supply line. We have them in a trap.
You think you can do it?
It's part of the miracle. The bridge, it was meant to be destroyed. That's why I was saved. So I could try it again. And this time, succeed.
One miracle, evidently, is not enough. What Peyton Forrester is asking for is another. And why not? If it's a question of knowing how to ask, certainly Peyton Forrester has discovered the secret. However, it's also possible to run out of miracles. The first time Peyton Forrester tried to destroy the Owl Creek Bridge, the Union Army caught him and tried to hang him. But Peyton prayed for a miracle, and somehow the rope broke at just the right moment, and he fell into the river unharmed. He has made his way to General Jeb Stuart, who has given him the gunpowder to try it again.
I'm your volunteer, Mr. Forrester.
Lieutenant Burns, you realize this mission must be performed in civilian clothes.
Oh, I'm aware of that, sir.
And you know the penalty if we're caught.
Same penalty we exact from the Union spies that are caught, Mr. Forrester.
We'll need the powder and the fuses, and I'll need some hair to make a false beard and mustache.
What's that, sir?
I should have a white shirt, and so should you, incidentally.
Well, why, sir?
Burns, do you know anything about medicine?
No, sir.
Yes, you do, Burns. You're a doctor.
Me?
We're both medical men. You see, my face is well known. I'll need disguise. I need a way to march up to that bridge as bold as brass.
But how, sir?
I told you. We'll be a pair of medical doctors.
But who's going to believe us?
Everybody. Why shouldn't they? We'll even have the proper papers.
Hosea? Who are you?
Millicent.
Oh, Peyton. Oh, it's you.
Well, if the disguise can fool my own wife.
Oh, darling Yankee soldiers patrol through here all the time.
Oh, I know.
Oh, you're alive, and I prayed so hard.
We prayed for the miracle, Millicent.
Now, I want to see you more than anything in all the world, but why are you back this way, down, and the whole Union Army is after you? You should be hiding.
I haven't completed my mission.
Peyton, the Yankees mustn't find you here.
Millicent,
Honey, what is it, Peyton?
My neck. Something seems to be rubbing against my neck. It's something stiff, something sharp.
Oh, you're not well. You're not well, darling. It was such a horrible experience. You're real.
No. I'm all right. I need strength. I came home. I saw you. I'm all right. I'm all right now.
Peyton, you're not listening to me. Peyton, what is it?
Listen to the wind, Millicent. The wind. How it whistles and screams.
Peyton, I'm frightened.
And now, I must go.
Hide, Peyton. I'll hide with you.
Owl Creek Bridge still stands.
Everyone knows you've done enough.
I must go back to the bridge.
I won't let you. I won't let you go.
Please, listen to me, Millicent.
No more. Let's end this senseless killing. What's the good of it?
Millicent, we're fighting for our homes.
We've lost, Peyton. We've lost.
I prayed, Millicent. I stood on that bridge, on that narrow plank, with a thick, rough rope around my neck. I can still feel it scratch and burn my skin, and I prayed. Let there be a miracle. Save me this time. Save me so I can come back and do it right. Destroy the bridge.
The war is lost, Peyton.
Destroy the bridge and we can capture an entire Union army. An army with supplies, food, ammunition. Destroy the bridge and we can win the war.
Now, that little place we have deep in the woods, no one ever goes there. You can hide there and be safe there.
I was saved from the noose so I could go back and destroy the bridge.
Why did you come back to torture me?
I had to come see you. I had to see you.
Peyton, if you love me...
It's because I love you and the children and this house and our land and the country. It's all tied together. Darling, I never knew how truly golden the highlights are in your hair. Till I saw the water in the morning sunlight.
Stay, Peyton. Stay here.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me again. Oh, I may weaken. Please, don't ask me again. Millicent, I must get to the bridge before the storm.
Storm? What storm?
The wind. Don't you hear the wind? How it howls, how it shrieks. I must go now.
Mr. Forrester, what is it? Shouldn't we stop for a rest, sir?
There's no time.
But the horses, they could use a breather.
We have to get there before the storm.
Sir, there's no sign of a storm.
Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it coming. The wind's getting stronger.
The wind, sir?
It's a gale.
But Oh, look. Where? Up ahead. That's the Yankee picket.
All right.
Well, sir, let's turn off the road before they see us.
But then it burns. We want them to see us. Now be calm. Just act calm.
Yes, sir.
Remember? You're a doctor.
Yes, sir. I'll try to remember.
Be casual. Be natural.
But suppose...
Suppose what?
Well, suppose they decide to search our bags.
Oh, no, they won't do that. These are our medical supplies and equipment, remember?
Yes, sir. I hope so.
Now, Burns, this try to look dignified.
Yes, sir.
But look wise, just like a doctor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm trying.
Strange.
What, sir?
The wind. That gale. What happened to it?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
The wind. It sounded like a hurricane. And you can't be deaf, can you?
Well, no, sir, but I didn't hear anything.
And now, for some reason, suddenly died away. Gone.
Yes, sir.
So still, so calm.
Oh, yes, it is, sir. It certainly is. Except I'm so nervous, sir.
Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of, Burns. Nothing except something scratching my neck. It's biting at my throat.
Well, it's too cold for mosquitoes, sir.
Something's starting to press. It press on my throat.
Sir, are you all right?
I wonder what happened to that wind.
Oh! Well, and who might you two gentlemen be?
Corporal, I'm Dr. Jones. And my friend here is Dr. Burns.
Your friend got a voice?
Why, of course, Corporal.
And why don't he answer for himself?
Oh, he's my assistant.
Is that true? Are you, Dr. Burns?
Oh, yes, Corporal.
Well, let's see what we got here. We got one gentleman who claims to be Dr. Jones, another who says he's Dr. Burns.
Corporal, if you don't mind, we happen to be on an errand of mercy.
Is that so? Well, tell me about it.
Now, we have permission from your General Grant to...
Something wrong, Doctor?
No, Corporal, I just seem to have
something in my throat.
You were saying you had permission from the general to do what?
Well, to visit some of our wounded prisoners.
You do, huh?
Yes, Corporal. And here's the safe conduct. Mine and Dr. Burns.
Woody.
Yes, Corporal.
Bring the lantern. Hold this up.
All right.
See what it says, Woody. You're better at reading than I am.
All right. The bearer of this safe conduct is to be permitted free passage within the lines controlled by Union forces in order to perform medical errands of mercy. Signed, U.S. Grant, Lieutenant General.
That's what it says, Woody?
That's what it says, Corporal.
Hand them back their papers. Woody.
What is it, Corporal?
What are you looking at, Woody?
Me?
What are you staring at the doctor for?
Well, I'm not. That is.
Do you know him from someplace?
No. I mean, where would I know him from?
Well, doctors, be on your way.
Thank you, Corporal.
Magnificent. I can only say, sir, that you were magnificent.
We have to get to the bridge. Quickly.
I could never have handled it that way, sir.
Hurry.
The bridge is just ahead, sir.
I'm beginning to feel very ill.
Sir?
My neck.
Your neck, sir?
It's beginning to hurt. I can feel it. It's beginning to swell.
Here's the bridge, sir. Easy, boy, a little slower. Now, where do you want to plant the charge?
Charge?
Where do you want to plant the powder?
We have to plant the powder. We have to plant the... Here. Right along. Here.
Yes, sir.
Stop the horses.
Yes, but, sir, you're very ill.
No. We could do this. Now, something's choking me. Now, I'll dismount.
Yes, sir.
Look, if we intend to walk our horses across the bridge.
Yes, sir.
Now, my throat. Place your sack against this support.
Yes, sir.
Now, quickly, the fuses in this bag.
I've got them, sir.
Why is it so dark?
What do you want me to do, sir?
Lay the fuse out along.
I know, sir. I know.
Hurry. Something's choking the life out of me.
I've got him, sir. I've got him.
Strike a match. Oh, I can't breathe.
We're going to do it, Mr. Forrester. We're going to bring it off.
My head.
Nothing can stop us now.
Burns. Something's choking.
This one's ready. And now that one.
Choking the life out of me. Whole sky is on fire. Everything. It's all aflame.
Lit, sir. She's lit.
This pain.
She's going to go, sir. She's going to go. Now jump in the water. Jump for your life.
My head. I can't stand the pain. My head is going to explode.
There she goes.
Is it over?
It's over, Woody. It's all over.
I saw him drop. I closed my eyes. I couldn't bear to see the rest.
Well, it's all right, Woody.
Corporal, that drop through the air, that drop at 30 feet before the rope snapped tight. What do you suppose he must have been thinking?
It only took a couple of seconds. I don't suppose he had time to think about nothing.
Peyton Forrester was, his body, the neck broken, was swinging gently from side to side, suspended from a timber of the Owl Creek Bridge. Swinging gently, swaying gently, turning and twisting gently in the fresh, cool morning breeze above the gold-tinted water of the river below. Our cast included William Prince, Mildred Clinton, Jack Grimes, Leon Janney, and William Redfield. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The preceding Mystery Theater program was furnished by the CBS Radio Network. And now here's a scene from tomorrow night's tale on the WOR Mystery Theater.
Reverend Stokes, I don't want a theological debate. I want you to tell your congregation the truth.
And what is that, Dr. Stabler?
That my son Michael conducts his lab experiments for scientific purposes.
Shall I ask him to believe in coincidence?
What coincidence?
That a peaceful town is ripped apart every time your son returns. That cattle die for no reason at all. That we are suffering epidemics and the worst drought in our history. All because of coincidence?
Yes. This is the 20th century. What else could it be?
Ask your son, Dr. Stabler. Ask your son, Michael, if he's just doing lab experiments.
That's tomorrow night following Fulton Lewis at 7 o'clock right here on WOR Radio, the Talk of New York. Here are some items.
It was Sigmund Freud, the master himself, who said, "The great question, which I have not been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is, what does a woman want?" Well, such a question may have disturbed the immortal doctor, but not the man you are about to meet. His name is Silas Cunningham. And if you were to ask him, what does a woman want? Silas Cunningham would look at you in all sincerity and say,
"Well, every woman I've ever met has always wanted me."
And it's evidently true. Because there is one woman who wants Silas forever, even after she's...
Go in with her now, Silas. Is she better, Doctor?
No.
But Dr. Pearson...
Go see her now, while you can.
Silas? Is that you?
Yes, darling.
Oh, I want to tell you.
Please, Julia, please, save your strength.
I have nothing to save my strength for. Listen to me. I'll be here.
Of course you'll be here. You'll get better.
I'll be here. After I'm dead, I'll be in this room. In this room. Our room. I love it so much.
Yes, darling.
No one will see me, but you'll see me.
Yes, dear.
No one will hear me, but you'll hear me. You believe that, don't you? Don't you?
Yes, I believe it.
Oh, darling, we love each other so much. We refuse to be parted, even by death. Oh, hold my hand.
Oh, my darling Julia.
I'll come back to you, Silas. I'll never leave you. I'll never leave you.
Julia.
Doctor Pearson.
Hello, Marilyn.
I was afraid
Of what?
I'd be stood
Now,
up.
when did I ever break a date with you, darling?
Why, you're late.
I didn't take the early train to town.
Why not?
Well, I begin each day with a visit to Julia's grave.
Really, sir?
Yes, I arrive each morning at 9 and sit an hour.
And do what?
Meditate.
Oh, You're such a fraud.
Madeline, darling, how can you say that?
I suppose everyone in the village knows about it.
Oh, yes. The talk of the town seems to be how grief-stricken I am.
You have absolutely no moral.
But it's true, dear. I am grief-stricken.
After the way she drove you crazy? Or was all that just talk? For my benefit?
Oh, Julia was all right, in her way. She made very few demands of me. If it weren't for that occult nonsense she was all wrapped up in, I could have even been happy.
Why is it so important for you to create this appearance of the bereaved and ravaged lover?
Well, when very rich wives die young, certain nasty-minded, suspicious persons may begin to formulate all sorts of evil thoughts.
I understand.
And so for a year or so, there should be a show of decorum.
I still have the apartment.
But there's no reason why we shouldn't enjoy the estate. Boating, tennis, so much to do. Darling, I want you out there.
But doesn't that go against...
No, because you see, I decided to write a book.
Book?
Yes, and I'll need an editorial assistant.
You're going to write a book? About what?
About the occult, the supernatural, the very strong possibilities of communication with the...
You know as well as I do that that's all nonsense.
Now, please, dear. This book is to be dedicated to the memory of my beloved wife.
Silence.
Now, you have had considerable experience in the publishing field. You were Julia's very best friend. And besides, as far as outward appearances go, we shall be impeccably chaperoned.
By whom?
By the redoubtable Mrs. Watson herself. I shall ask her to stay on as housekeeper.
Mrs. Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Hatchetface.
But, darling, she radiates respectability from every pore.
When do I report for duty?
Saturday. Call when you're ready. I'll have Hastings drive into town, pick you up.
Well, here's to the book.
And, to other things.
Mr. Cunningham, I brought you some nice hot tea. Oh, come now. You must have something. Oh, look, I know how you feel. Everyone knew. It was a real love match, you and that wonderful lady, Mr. Soul. But would Julia Cunningham want you to despair like this?
Thank you, Mrs. Watson. What would I do without you?
Good evening, Silas.
Oh, Dr. Pearson.
You want to fetch me a cup of that tea, Miss Watson?
Yes, Doctor.
Thank you. Mrs. Watson says you don't eat. Thought I'd stop by to see if you're all right.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'm worried about you.
Me?
Your marriage was something special, Silas.
Well, every marriage is special.
You and Julia. No two people ever seem to be more close, more content, more in love.
She was everything to me, Doctor. Everything.
In a marriage like yours, when one partner goes, well, sometimes the other one loses all interest in life. Now, don't let it happen to you, Silas.
Well, I don't care much about anything right now, Doctor.
Get hold of yourself. Don't let your mind wander. Don't shut yourself away. Life must go on. And it can be quite a life for you. She came into all her money last year.
You know, I'd give every penny to bring her back.
Yeah, you would. That's what worries me.
What are you saying, Doctor?
Julia was very much taken with the idea of being able to communicate with it.
It was a very sincere belief.
I'm sure you discussed it. Even decided that in the event one of you died, there'd be an attempt at communication from beyond the grave.
Doctor, this is a very personal and private matter between Julia and me.
I notice you say is instead of was.
I'd rather we don't discuss it.
In those final feverish moments, she talked about it. She said...
I know what she said.
She said her spirit would always be in her room.
Doctor, why do you insist
Because it's hokum. Sane, sensible people know these things simply can't happen, period.
Well, don't you worry about it.
I worry because in this world there are all sorts of unscrupulous confidence operators who prey upon vulnerable people. People like you.
Well, I can take care of myself.
Your tray, Dr. Pearson.
Oh. Well, one thing's in your favor. Mrs. Watson's staying on, and she's the most level-headed person I know. Mrs. Watson, can I depend on you to keep Mr. Cunningham here out of trouble?
Yes, Doctor. You can depend on it. And you can depend on me.
Mr. Cunningham.
I've got a beat on them now. Oh, darn, I missed him again. Oh, well. It's too nice a day to hit anything anyhow. I just feel like making some noise in the woods.
Mr. Cunningham.
What is it, Hastings?
Well, I don't know. I got to talk to you. I mean, I don't know what...
Why don't you start at the beginning, Hastings?
Yes, sir. Look, you know what's just happened to me, Mr. Cunningham?
No. What happened?
Well, I've been fired.
Fired? Now, how could you be fired?
Well, that's what I can't figure.
Well, who in the world could have fired you, Hastings?
Old Lady Iron Pants. I mean, Mrs. Watson.
Well, why?
Well, I don't know. She comes up to me and she says, Hastings, you're finished. Here's your money. Get out of here. Just like that.
Well, I don't understand why.
Well, she figures if Mrs. Cunningham passed away, she can rule the roost, you know what I mean? She's always had it in for me anyhow.
Why, Hastings?
Well, I guess I'd pop off about her.
Pop off? How?
Well, I was only kidding, but it was about sex.
Sex? Oh, come on now, Hastings. Why would anyone talk that way with Mrs. Watson? Why, she must be at least,
Yeah? How old do you think she is?
Well, late 50s, even 60, maybe over.
Next time, take a good look. She ain't even 40 yet. And she's been a widow 18 years.
Oh, well, I'm sure we can adjust the matter.
Well, I told her to go soak her head. I told her, Mr. Cunningham hired me. Therefore, only Mr. Cunningham can fire me. Is that right?
Yes, Hastings. That's right. Now, you go back to the garage. You'll have to go to the city this afternoon.
If I'm to perform my duties in a satisfactory manner, I must have the right to hire and fire Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, of course, Mrs. Watson. It's just that Hastings has been with us for such a long time.
I dismissed him for good cause. He's a thief.
A thief?
I found out. He's been getting together with some of the service places in town. We've been paying bills for repairs that were never made, for gasoline that we never bought.
Oh? Are you sure?
I'm positive. The sooner he's off the premises, the better for all concerned.
Well, it's just that I would want him to drive into the city this afternoon.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I'm expecting a call from Mrs. Ralston.
Marilyn Ralston, of course. She called while you were out shooting.
Oh? Did she say what time she wants to be picked up? If we fire Hastings, I'll drive in myself.
Oh, that won't be necessary, Mr. Cunningham.
What do you mean?
She isn't coming out this afternoon.
Oh. Something the matter?
Or any afternoon, for that matter.
Well, why? Did she suddenly change her mind?
No. But I told her that you had changed yours.
What are you talking about, Mrs. Watson? I never told you I changed
It wasn't necessary for you to tell me, sir. I acted in your best interests.
Mrs. Watson, I'm very capable of determining my best interests. And furthermore...
Yes, Mr. Cunningham. What are you staring at?
That bracelet.
Yes, this bracelet.
Well, how dare you, Mrs. Watson? That was my wife's bracelet.
I know.
Well, what right do you have to wear...
She told me I could have it. She whispered it to me.
Well, that's a lie.
The day she died.
It isn't true.
The day she died of, what did the good Dr. Pearson say? An infection? Nobody questioned dear Dr. Pearson's diagnosis. How fortunate he signed the death certificate without questioning it himself.
Now, you couldn't prove anything.
Of course not. I couldn't prove anything, but
Now, if they were to exhume the body and perform certain tests, but they'd never do it unless someone suggested it strongly. And as of right now, I don't plan to suggest it.
Well, there you are. You get what you consider to be the perfect setup for the perfect murder. You get rid of a woman who is a thorn in your side, only to discover you've just acquired one who could be a rope around your neck. The rope either gets tightened or loosened. On her deathbed, Julia Cunningham promised her husband Silas she would communicate with him from the other world. However, it now develops that Silas may have more trouble than he can handle in this world. It seems that Mrs. Watson, the faithful housekeeper, has discovered that Silas had actually hastened Julia's exit from what is sometimes described as this vale of tears.
Mrs. Watson, what makes you think I would have something to fear from an autopsy?
Isn't it obvious?
Isn't what obvious?
The situation we find ourselves in. Now, if you didn't fear an autopsy, this bracelet would be off my arm, you'd fire me on the spot, and I would be out on my ear. Now, I know.
Just what do you know?
I know I was right about the bottle of poison.
What bottle of poison?
Oh, come, sir. It was in your room. I made a few discreet inquiries. I learned from a doctor that small, steady doses could produce symptoms which might appear to indicate an intestinal infection, and it would be treated as such until suddenly the patient would die. Incidentally, that doctor was not Dr. Pearson.
And, just how would I be implicated?
Well, if I were to voice my suspicions strenuously enough, and if the coroner should find poison...
Oh, I see. Isn't it your duty as a reputable citizen to, report this?
Yes, it is.
Why haven't you done so?
Well, I could set in motion a chain of events that could place you on a scaffold or in a prison for life. And I asked myself, now, what would be in all this for me?
Well, the satisfaction that you had performed your duty as a responsible citizen of a democracy.
Oh, I've been doing that all my life, and I have very little to show for it. And so I said to myself, Vera? I'll wager you didn't know my first name was Vera.
Well, to be honest, I didn't even know you had a first name.
That's true. To you, I've always been the invisible Mrs. Watson. And so, for the first time in my life, I did something different, unusual, unprecedented.
And what was that?
For once, I thought about me, my own welfare. You see, Mr. Cunningham, you had committed the perfect crime.
Well, how? You seem to have detected it.
Oh, the key element. Dr. Pearson. Old, fumbling, superannuated Dr. Pearson.
Well, he's not all that incompetent.
Oh, no. He's merely obsolete. And you counted on that. You counted on him accepting your wife's death as a purely natural event and getting a death certificate without an autopsy.
Well, Mrs. Watson, now what? I assume you intend to blackmail me.
Well, that's a harsh word.
How much money do you want?
Oh, I don't want any money.
You don't want any money?
No.
Well, then what do you want?
I want you.
You want me?
Yes.
What does that mean?
What do you think it means? I want to be Mrs. Silas Cunningham.
Would you mind saying that again?
I think you heard it.
Yes, I heard it. I can't believe it.
You know, people like you are completely unaware of people like me as human beings. Our mission in life is to serve, to be useful, to cater to all your creature concerns. But I have feelings. I have desires, emotions, yearnings.
Well,
I'm only 3 years older than you are. That's young enough. There's still time enough for me to enjoy a rich, exciting life.
I've heard of shotgun weddings.
Why turn you over to the police? I have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Finally, Vera Watson, you too can become somebody. Nobody's maid, nobody's servant. Cross the line.
You know, I wish I could say I admire you.
Oh, well, we'll let a year go by, a decent interval, and then we'll announce our engagement.
I can assure you, Mrs. Watson, you're hardly my type.
Perhaps. But you're mine, and after a while, I'll become yours.
You think so?
Oh, you'll come to value me when you know me better. Oh, by the way.
Yes?
Unlike so many women in love, Mr. Cunningham, I'm not blind. For example, I see how you've been glancing at your shotgun.
Oh, have I been doing that?
Well, I wouldn't recommend anything hasty, sir. You see, I've written a letter to my sister. It's to be opened in the event of my death. Need I say more?
No. I think you've said quite enough.
Darling. Silas.
Why? Oh, must have been dreaming.
Silas.
Who is that?
Silas.
Julia.
I said I'd come back to our room.
Julia.
Silas. Darling, why did you kill me?
Julia, I didn't.
My darling, you mustn't lie to me.
But Julia.
I've come from such a long way. Don't lie to me.
Julia, please.
Why did you kill me?
Julia, I didn't.
Poor Silas, it was for nothing.
Julia, I didn't mean to. I must have been crazy.
It was for nothing. Will you be better off with her? Will you kill her, too?
Julia, please, will you listen to me?
Will you kill her?
Julia, I didn't know what I was doing.
Silas, you'll have no rest, no peace until you kill her, too.
Julia, please. Julia,
Mr. Cunningham.
I didn't mean to kill you, Julia.
Be quiet.
I didn't mean it, Julia.
Shut up, sir.
What are you doing in here? What did you slap me for?
It's a good thing none of the servants sleep on this side of the house. You were having a nightmare.
No, she was here. Julia was here. I saw her. I heard her.
Snap out of it.
You don't understand.
Can't you understand? You were screaming that you murdered her. All we need is for someone to hear that.
But it was so real.
Oh, look, you've got to get hold of yourself. Because if you don't, we're going to have a problem.
Yes, you're right.
Well, at least you're beginning to see how much you need a woman like me. You must keep your sanity. And I can help you do it.
Now, listen.
No,
please.
not now. Now, you take this sleeping pill and get yourself some rest.
Doctor, I'm fine. I'm just fine.
But you don't go anywhere. You don't do anything.
Well, I don't care to.
Silas, you've lost your color. You look thinner. You've got to develop an interest in life once again.
I'll be all right.
Silas, you're not getting all twisted up in that occult business, are you? You're not getting visits, I hope.
Doctor, I loved my wife very much. And I still haven't recovered from the shock of having lost her. And I wish that everyone would let me alone.
All right, Silas. I'll leave you some vitamins.
Oh, Mr. Cunningham. Oh, good morning, Dr. Pearson.
Good morning, Miss Watson. Our friend here looks a bit peaked. Hasn't been eating much, I bet.
No, but I'm on my way to town to buy some things to tempt his appetite.
I'll give you a lift.
Oh, thank you. I just have to stop by the kitchen to leave some instructions.
I'll see you outside in a couple of minutes. You know, Silas, something's different about that woman.
Different?
No.
What way?
Well, for one thing, she looks much younger. For another, she's not too bad looking.
I hadn't noticed.
Something's come over her. Now, what do you suppose it could be?
I haven't the faintest idea.
I'm sorry she's out.
Oh. Well, will she be back soon?
Well, it's hard to say. She's downtown shopping.
Could you take a message for her?
Yes?
I'm her sister Emma. It's about the letter.
The letter?
A couple of weeks ago, she gave me a letter, and she said I was to open it only in case she'll know which letter I mean.
Yes.
Well, tell her the letter's gone.
Oh?
I put it in a wooden box with some of my things, and we had a fire in the house, and everything's been destroyed.
Oh, I see.
So, I don't have the letter anymore. And if it was very important, she'd better send me another one. Would you tell her that?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Don't mention that. Good evening, Mrs. Watson.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Cunningham.
Is this how you spend your evenings, Mrs. Watson? Knitting?
Knitting, reading, listening to music.
Oh, I've often wondered what you did with your time.
Oh, that's not true. I don't imagine you ever gave me a second thought.
Well, for better or worse. Do you know what I like to do on a lovely night like this?
No.
Go out in a boat.
Well, why don't you?
Well, I never cared to go out alone.
Are you asking me to go with you?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, it's part of my courtship, Mrs. Watson.
You are a remarkable man, Mr. Cunningham.
And you are a remarkable woman. You know, actually, you were right the other night. You're the woman I need. The woman who can hold me in balance. Vera.
Vera?
Yes, Vera. You know, I have the feeling that I'm falling in love with you, Vera.
Mr. Cunningham.
My name is Silas.
Silas.
Vera, I need you. I need your strength and your good sense.
Well, we'll be very good for each other. You'll see.
Oh, yes. Yes, you'll supply the common sense and I'll supply the romance. Now, how about that boat ride?
Oh, I'm very happy. Oh, Silas, life is so unpredictable, isn't it?
Yes, that's the one thing you can say for sure.
A month ago, who would believe that you and I would be drifting along out here, close together?
You know, it's getting a bit late.
Oh, do we have to go back in now?
Well, we better. The breeze is freshening. We may be in for a gale. You wouldn't want to be blown out to sea, would you?
Oh, no. Well, we must do this more often. Silas.
Yes.
So where are we headed? I mean, we're not going toward shore.
That's right.
But you said...
What did I say?
Well, that it was time to go home.
I'm going home.
Silas.
What am I saying? What I'm saying is there's no one within miles, and this should be far enough.
Far enough for what?
Well, you see, you took the boat out tonight all by yourself. And I guess you fell overboard.
Silas!
And here you go.
No, you must have forgotten my letter to my sister. Don't! Silas! I can't swim!
Yes, I know.
I can't help! Silas!
Oh, I forgot to tell you. You had a phone call from your sister.
Help! I can't
answered the phone and said you told her...
Marilyn, please. Speak gently of her. She's gone. You see, she had an accident last week. She went out in the boat. And she drowned. It was a terrible thing.
But why did you instruct her to tell me to forget all about you?
Darling, I can explain everything.
Well, it had better be a fantastic explanation.
Still want to see me?
Well, I shouldn't.
But?
How long will it take you to get here?
Give me an hour.
Hurry, darling.
Sure thing.
Well.
What?
Looks as if that poor girl's going to get stood up again.
Well, who are you?
It's a good idea for the two of you to be seen together.
Now, wait just 1 minute. What are you doing here? Who are you?
How do you do, sir? I'm your new housekeeper.
Now, see here.
Let's cut this nonsense. I'm your new housekeeper for a very good reason. My name is Emma.
Emma?
You remember? Emma? Vera Watson's sister.
Oh.
Oh. And the reason I'm your new housekeeper is because I found the letter.
First, Julia cramped his style. Goodbye, Julia. Then Vera Watson had him cornered. Goodbye, Vera. Now, here comes Emma. It never rains, it pours. What are we going to do about Emma? How does Silas Cunningham keep track of all his women? They all fall madly in love with him. They all want him. How does he manage them? Well, some of them have accidents. For example, his wife died of a stomachache. His housekeeper drowned. It seems she went out in the boat by herself and fell overboard. Or anyhow, that's what the sheriff thinks. Now, the latest woman who has entered his life is
Emma.
That's right. Emma.
Yes, I spoke to you on the telephone.
That's right. And I told you about the letter.
Uh-huh. What are you doing here?
I didn't think there was anything to that letter.
Well, there isn't.
Oh, Silas. Silas. When I read that my poor sister, well, actually, she's my stepsister, had drowned.
Well, you know, she shouldn't have gone out in that boat alone.
Oh, she didn't go out in the boat alone, Silas. You went out in the boat with her. What did you do? Throw her overboard?
Now, you can't prove that.
I don't have to prove that. I still know about the other thing.
All right, let's get this over with, huh? How much do you want?
Ooh. You don't catch on at all, Silas.
What do you mean?
I think you're kind of cute.
Oh.
Good.
You know, you're obviously an intelligent woman. Why don't we make a settlement?
What did you have in mind?
Well,
Before you tell me, let me tell you what I had in mind. I can marry you, then sue you for divorce and strip you clean.
You know, you drive a hard bargain.
You'd have been better off with Vera.
I'd have been better off with Julia.
Silas!
Yes. Yes?
Silas! I'm here.
Oh, no, go away.
It's Julia, darling. It's me, Julia.
What? Julia, please, what do you want of me? What do you want?
Silas, darling.
What do you want?
I'm keeping our promise. We will not be parted by death.
I killed you.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, Julia.
You are foolish, Silas.
Oh, Julia.
Love is immortal, invincible. Nothing can destroy love. Love lives forever.
Oh, Julia, I was so stupid. I don't know what happened to me. It just keeps getting worse and worse for me.
I know. You had to kill poor Mrs. Watson.
Yes, and now I'll have to kill this horrible woman, this Emma.
Yes, you must kill her before she destroys you.
But how? How can I kill her, Julia? How?
Darling, it's so simple. Think.
How?
Think.
Tell me, Julia. Please tell me.
The poison.
The poison?
Hide the bottle in her room and take a little bit yourself every day, just as you did with me.
But, Julia, you died.
But you stop in time. Call the doctor. Complain. Tell him you think you're being poisoned. They'll discover the bottle in her room.
Oh, Julia, please don't think she was trying to poison me.
Yes, darling. You see how simple it is?
Well, why would she want to poison me?
Why did Mrs. Watson want to poison me?
Mrs. Watson?
Of course. It was Mrs. Watson. Don't you see? Emma was finishing the job her sister started. I'm dead. Now they find poison in your system. The bottle in her room.
Oh, Julia, please. My darling, Julia, please. My beloved, Julia.
What's going on in here?
Julia.
Hey, snap out of it. You're having a bad dream.
No, that was not a dream.
Okay, have it your way.
Now, don't you humor me. I saw her. She was right here.
Oh, sure.
She's keeping her promise.
Her promise?
Yes, she said she'd come back, and she told me how I could... She told me. It's wonderful.
Oh, this is terrific. Keep it up.
Keep what up?
Oh, what you're doing now? And after we get married, I can have you put away in the nut house.
No. She was right here. You can laugh all you like, but she was here.
Oh, sure she was. And she was wearing a white dress with blue shoes and a green hat, and there were little men 7 inches tall with heads like pancakes.
Shut up.
What?
And get out of here. Don't you dare insult the memory of my wife.
You better be careful how you talk to me, Silas.
Why?
You know what I can do.
Yes, but that's all you can do.
All? I can put you on a scaffold.
You do that, and you won't get 1 single cent.
You're bluffing.
Am I? Call it.
Silas, honey, we're stuck with each other. Why not make the best of it?
We may be stuck, my dear, but not for long.
Good morning, Silas.
Good morning.
I hope you feel better today.
I don't.
Breakfast?
No, just coffee.
You haven't hardly eaten a thing for the last 3 days. You got me worried.
Worried?
Yeah, you're my meal ticket. I don't want anything to go wrong with you. Besides, as I said the first day I met you, you're cute.
I don't think I'll have any more coffee either.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
But it has to be something.
Well, I have these pains.
What kind of pain?
I don't know. Just pains.
Where?
Everywhere.
Did you want me to call the doctor?
No, not yet.
Not yet? What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for just exactly the right time.
What do you mean by just exactly the right time?
There's an exactly right time for everything. Now, I better go upstairs and lie down.
Can you manage?
No, I can manage. I can manage everything.
Dr. Pearson?
Doctor, this is Emma. Mr. Cunningham's housekeeper.
What is it, Emma?
Dr. Pearson, Mr. Cunningham's been sick the past 4 or 5 days.
Sick? What do you mean?
Well, he can't eat. He has pains. He looks kind of feverish to me.
Why didn't he call me?
I said to him, call the doctor. But he said he wanted to wait.
Wait for what?
Well, he said he wanted to wait for just exactly the right time.
I'll be right there.
Oh, Julia, why does it hurt so much now? This is only the 4th day after taking the poison. You needed 10. Oh, is it supposed to be this bad? Julia, please. Please come here and talk to me. I'm going to call Dr. Pearson now. I better not wait any longer. Oh, I better call. Maybe my system is different. I only took a little bit. Julia, please. Where are you?
I'm here, Silas. Here.
Is this how it was with you?
Yes, darling.
I can't stand it.
Neither could I. That's why I let go.
Let go?
Yes, darling. Let go.
I can't take it anymore.
I know. Oh, don't keep fighting it.
But I have to hold out until Pearson gets here.
He can't save you, darling. No
strength.
You do. See? And now, walk. Walk with me.
Oh, Julia, I can't stand the pain.
Oh, just a few more steps, darling. A few more steps. That's it.
Silas, get away from that window, you'll fall.
Now, let go, darling. You can let go.
Oh, Julia! Julia!
Well, Emma, it's obvious. What killed him was a skull fracture. He fell out of the window and hit his head on a rock. Poor Silas. What was he doing near the window, Emma?
I don't know.
Well, did he say anything?
He just called Julia.
Julia. Yes. Well, he simply never got over her death. I suppose he couldn't accept it. Julia.
It was as if he could see her.
Yeah, maybe it's for the best. There was really no living for him without her. You know that.
Yes, Doctor.
Never knew him even to look at another woman.
Is that right, Doctor?
A very unusual man.
That's true, Doctor.
He's the kind of exceptional person you meet so rarely in this world. All of us will be the poorer for his loss.
You can say that again, Doctor. All of us will be the poorer.
Well, you know what they say. De mortuis nil nisi bonum, which means only speak nice things about it. And after all, Silas Cunningham paid the price. Ironic, isn't it? So many men envied him his fantastic good looks and his successful way with women. It shows you can have too much of a good thing, but you cannot have too much of Mystery Theater. Our cast included Larry Haynes, Evie Justice, and Guy Sorrell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is A.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The preceding Mystery Theater program is furnished by the CBS Radio Network. This is WOR New York, an RKO General Station. At the WOR time signal, exactly 8 o'clock, here's John Scott with the